All right, here we go. Hold on to your butts. Troubled Minds coming up. I see you there. Hope everybody's well. We'll say hi as we go. Here we go.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're going to miss some time. We're going to explore missing time. And this is one of those ones that goes back a long time. We talked about this a long, long time ago. And it is kind of at the heart of that conspiracy 101, as we always talk about. Because everybody has experienced this to some degree. Now, it does go further back, all the way back, well, to the beginning of the UFO subculture and Betty and Barney Hill and the UFO abduction aspect of things. We'll get to that. But also, one of the things that comes to mind when I start thinking about missing time in particular, and directly, is an old episode of The X-Files. I've said this before. I can't remember exactly where I saw this, which episode it is, but it's Fox Mulder doing Mulder stuff, and I think he's by himself this time, and he pulls his car over, and he sees a light in the sky. And he kind of pulls over, he's on this country road, and this saucer, whatever it is, a light, presumably a flying saucer, starts to land. And kind of behind this clearing in the, or behind a hill in the forest there, it appears like it actually does land. And he gets out of the car, and he's about to go over and investigate. And before he does, he takes his watch off. And he puts it on the car itself. Because clearly in the sort of UFO abduction mythology and folklore in modern times, there's that odd aspect of missing time and time dilation and all the rest. So I thought it was an interesting touch when in that X-Files episode, he dropped his watch because he wanted to go approach this thing and then see what his watch said when he came back. Now, I can't remember what happened after that, but it's one of those things that has stuck with me for a very long time because I do wonder about time itself, okay? a very long time. You see what I did there. But what I mean is, us as humans, we're sort of cooked into this. I always call it the the human entropy cycle. Okay, that's what I call it. Meaning, we live a linear life. We're born, we grow up, we get old, we pass on, and whatever that looks like, whatever you believe, we're not necessarily going to get into that stuff. Maybe reincarnation or whatnot. I don't know. Like, that's kind of off the table for the moment. Maybe we'll get into that a little later. But the bizarre part is that, is there a way, thinking about this, is there another way to kind of go about living life in a non-linear space? Not just the human entropy cycle, but is it possible to maybe shock yourself out of it? Whether it's through some sort of ascension process, meditation, things like that, okay? Or as we get weird tonight and start to think about these ideas, is it possible that there's a technology that can actually do this, that can allow you to step outside of your own time space and experience life and the universe, the cosmos, a different way? And as usual, I'm digging into this. I'm looking into some other things, and the write-up is very good. If you want to check it out, I do recommend it. I'm calling it the edited hour, time that wasn't there. Now, the thing is this, when you're talking about this time stuff, and I think we've all experienced it to one degree or another, you know, and the most common is, of course, when you're driving a long drive or something to that effect, and you end up kind of zoning out. You kind of go on autopilot. It's almost as if your consciousness kind of goes somewhere else momentarily. And whatever that looks like, however, whatever that mechanism is, you kind of come to and recognize that you've been driving for an hour and a half and really weren't there. It's almost as if time itself has skipped entirely. And that's one of the most basic ones. And of course, it gets deeper and more strange when you think about those other aspects of it, back to Betty and Barney Hill, which we will talk about tonight because I think it's very important. But the question and the rest of these ideas, as they kind of come together, it makes me wonder about how we experience time and our direct human relationship with it. Now, is it possible that aspect of ourselves, of humanity, is it possible that we can actually look at it a different way and see it in a different way and experience a nonlinear time space in a human life? I don't know. Of course, me personally, you know me, I'm not, all this stuff is way above my pay grade, but I do wonder about it because, look, we've all seen the trope, right? They even have commercials with this, right? Have you seen the Bounty commercial or whatever, where somebody spills something on the table and everything goes to slow motion? And it's like, no way, right? Something like that. And so you have it's this human trope of sort of, we're able to dilate time in some capacity through, trauma. It happens with car accidents, God forbid nobody gets hurt, but I'm sure everybody out there has at least experienced something to that degree where time slows down. And there's that really heavy trauma imprint of the space, and it feels as if there was a time travel slowdown. And so not just missing time in this capacity, but in the larger aspect of how we experience time. Is it possible to manipulate this somehow, some way? And here's another thing too. We'll get to this after the break, but I want to throw this out there as part of this discussion tonight, because when people talk about Betty and Barney Hill and that abduction phenomenon, which kind of kicked off into the zeitgeist, people going missing, okay? And sorry, not missing, people being abducted by aliens and being brought aboard spaceships, and it really kind of kicked it off into the zeitgeist and really blew it up. And we've looked at Google Ngrams, I believe it is, and it's crazy how one thing happens and then suddenly it's so prevalent and it's on everybody's mind, and then it starts happening. It's almost as if that mind psychosis, the mind parasite, sort of takes over, and then these ideas that we never really considered previously are now suddenly front of mind. And really, people are writing books about it. People are having experiences about it. But before Betty and Barney Hill, there wasn't a lot of this. But here's the thing. So here's the question, and we'll get to this when we get back. The aspect that nobody really talks about regarding Betty and Barney Hill is the fact that maybe this was some sort of technology to test that time dilation. And of course, we've talked about screen memories in the past, that type of thing, where they sort of fill it with something else to mask whatever actually did happen. So one of the big speculations with missing time in that particular instance is that it was some sort of military op, Okay. And they were trying to fool Betty and Barney Hill into believing they had been abducted for some other nefarious purpose. Okay. Well, what about this? What if it had nothing to do with aliens at all? And I'll leave you with this question. We'll get back. When we get back, we'll talk about it. But what if instead it had nothing to do with aliens, period? And it was some sort of consciousness technology being tested to see if they could remove, redact, edit, and replace time from memory itself. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back. More on the way. Don't go anywhere. This is a quick word from our sponsor, in this case, Human Inspiration. Be right back. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, Human Inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable.
So here I sit, locked in my room again.
Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support Human Inspiration. Available now on iTunes. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? Now, there's something actually called chronostasis. There are scientific terms for these things. Now, and it's been studied heavily because time itself is something that we experience through consciousness, through, like I said, those human entropy cycles that we're all stuck in. However, I do wonder if there is, as I described, some technology that allows us to call a timeout, literally, to maybe pick up our consciousness a week later, almost as if you've been in some sort of coma and don't recognize it at all. The ultimate dissociation is how you say that. I always want to say disassociation. There's an extra ass in there that shouldn't be in there. No extra asses here. But the ultimate form of this brought about by some level of a harmonic frequency, some level of actual, I don't know. Is that possible? And this really becomes the larger question as part of the conversation tonight, because Betty and Barney Hill, we'll get to that. But I wonder if instead of it having anything to do with aliens at all, it was instead some sort of, again, a military op in some capacity, but they were testing some level of technology that allowed them to remove time, redact it, edit it, and then replace it. You see what I mean? And it doesn't seem too science fiction to me because, and here's why, because we know they were doing that MK Ultra stuff right around then. And really digging into the human psyche and seeing, how they could break it and then rebuild it. And so this type of thing in particular seems as if it's as possible as any other wild concept as part of it. And if you guys are familiar with the Betty and Barney Hill case, so I'll refresh you in a moment here. But the tapes, the hypnotic regression tapes of Betty and Barney Hill separately are terrifying because those people are very, very frightened when they're describing what happened to them, the abduction experience. So in that capacity, I think that, again, I think they're being honest about what they thought happened. Beyond that, I'm not sure. Certainly they were terrified. But do you think it is possible that there was some technology, some frequency, energy, vibration, some oscillation, something used against them to steal that time, edit it, and replace it in their mind? So that's the question tonight as we get started. I'll fill in the blanks on the Betty and Barney Hill stuff if you guys aren't familiar or it's been a while since you've kind of looked into it. But it is odd how all this really comes together. And as part of the questions tonight, have any of you experienced any amount of missing time, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour, or dare I say like a week? I've got a story of a distant family member that was telling me about, he was on some bender doing something or other, and he woke up like 3 days later. Of course, this is drug induced, but like 500 miles away on a beach in Oregon. And the only reason he knew, because of course you walk off the beach like, what the hell is going on? And you see signs on the highway and they're not California signs. Anyway, has anybody ever experienced something like that? And it doesn't have to be drugs. Throw that out. That's just a funny story. I mean, thankfully he was okay. However, I wonder if there's a larger technology that could be used to manipulate time itself within the human aspect. So we'll start there. Chronostasis. We'll get back to Betty and Barney Hill momentarily. James has been waiting a minute. Let's go to James. What's up, brother? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How you doing tonight? You jumped right in. I figure you got a thing or two to say about the edited hour, time that wasn't there. How are you, my man? Go right ahead.
Yeah, just glad to be here. And yeah, whenever time is involved, to me, I like to talk about it because it's one of those things similar to how energy always seems to be around in anomalous events. Light seems to be around in a lot of anomalous events. Time also seems to be something that can be different during those events. And I've had an experience. Oh, I've had a couple experiences with time where it was weird, and I'll just share the one real quick here. I've told before, but for anyone new, I used to walk to this restaurant right in town where I live and meet my family there once a week for lunch during the warmer part of the year, not during winter, but the rest of the year. And I knew how long it took me to get there when I walked because I'm legally blind, so I walk everywhere unless I get a ride. And I knew how long it took me to get there, and it was always 10 to 15 minutes. It was never more than that. It was never less than that. Even with traffic, even if there was any vehicles around. And this one time I walked there, this is also the only time this has ever happened. You mentioned the trance while you're driving. I had that happen or something similar happen while I was walking. And I've never heard of that I can think of. Where I went into this trance, which I do not recommend doing when you're walking because you're trying to figure out where you're going and keep track of street corners and vehicles and all these things. But it happened. And I made it most of the way to the restaurant before I came out of it. And I walked in and sat down and I thought, oh, I'm probably here right on time. And I looked at my clock. I had made it there in 5 minutes. And I don't know how. I intentionally do not walk faster, or obviously I do not run. Because again, I have limited vision. I have no depth perception. So these are things I don't do. And so I can't explain how I got there in 5 minutes. And I always wonder, what would people have seen? Did anyone see anything weird? Did they see me vanish or go into a blur or a streak that just flew down the street or whatever? All these questions that come up with this event that happened to me.
Yeah, or possibly blink in and blink out. Like who knows, this type of thing. And again, as usual, right? Like there's a lot of ways to look at this. So it's a good time to drop all the disclaimers apply. There's no truth to be found here. This is just ideas. This is conceptual thinking. I call this a philosophical construct. This entire show has really been part of that. And so, yeah, if you're here for truth, you're in the wrong place. If you're here for possibilities and wild ideas, we got you 100%. Now back to this. So I'm calling it the edited hour, and you had this weird situation where you got there way faster than you anticipated, and really no mechanism where this could have been possible. Now, did this play out too? Were you were meeting somebody or anything like that where they were like you were early, or I forgot the rest of the story. Was there anything sort of a corroborating bit of this, or is it sort of just left to your own devices to kind of wonder about what the hell happened after the fact?
No, it's just me because my family wasn't even there yet because I was 5 minutes early, 10 minutes. I was early because I got there so quickly. So no one can, but I just physically can't explain it unless I was, and I don't mean to be joking here, but unless I was somehow knocked out, taken in a car, and I'm not joking here, I'm just saying real world possibilities, as weird as it would be, why would that be done? And then dropped up, but then it was right in town. People would have seen some guy being just picked up and then put back down in the middle of town on their way to, like right in the main street, pretty much is where I came out of it.
Yeah, which is super creepy, and that's the only time that has happened in a significant portion like that. We're talking, 5, 10, 15 minutes. But has it happened to you in shorter doses, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, sort of at home and not recognizing? I think that happens to us all. But here's another layer to this. I wonder if some particular people are more predisposed to this. So the question for you guys out there listening, but yeah, go ahead on that or anything else you got. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, and I've never had that at home as far as I know. The only thing I had one time, which was, I still don't know how to describe it exactly, is I was sitting here listening to a podcast or whatever, and in my home, at my computer, and I remember I went into that kind of weird trance again, and the audio and everything just stopped, like the world stopped, but I was hearing the same tone, the same sound as I did when it stopped. So it was like a constant note. And it went on for, I don't know, a little while. And then I came out of it, and the podcast went on as it was, regular, normal speed, normal everything. And I don't know what that was, but it was not normal. The feeling wasn't normal. The way that the sound acted was not normal. That's the only other thing I know that I've had happen.
Yeah, and so it is a thing. And if you guys look this up, you'll see I'll have some links in the description. I ran out of time, so I wasn't able to drop them all in there. But for instance, very, very simply, so the perception of time is something that has been studied extensively, as we said, but contemporary neuroscientific evidence demonstrates that time perception can indeed be altered through various mechanisms, from simple contextual manipulations to more dramatic neurological interventions, suggesting that our subjective experience of time is far more malleable than commonly assumed, which we're going to get into tonight. We'll dig deep. But the question really becomes, how malleable is it? And can you manipulate this through some sort of technology? Again, energy, frequency, vibration. And you think the government, back to Betty and Barney Hill for a moment, has some level of technology where they could sort of shock you out of your time space and then bring you back a week later. You know what I mean? Sort of an induced false coma. I don't know. It's a terrifying thing to think about, because clearly your agency's gone, wiped from the map, and kind of at the mercy of this type of thing. I don't know. I'll dig a little deeper on that as we go too, because I didn't get a chance to really go into the technology of this. But your thought on that, James? And as you know, we're just about out of time.
Yeah, and I would even go beyond, government, but corporations and even other governments, really, we don't even know. Again, alien is just unknown, so it could be their own government. But I do think technology, I don't even know the possible abduction experience I had. I can't even say it was aliens. I don't know. Because I know that our senses can be manipulated and through signals and all those things. So, so I can't say it's impossible.
Nor can I. And by the way, so I'm not, conclusions few, questions many is really how I roll this. And so I'm not even making a determination on the Betty and Barney Hill thing. Believe what you like. But it does seem like one of the lesser talked about aspects of that case, and I'll fill you in on it when we get back after the break. Just read the quick brief just to refresh your memory. If it's rusty, it's an oldie but a goodie. But people don't talk about that missing time. They want to talk about the aliens. They want to talk about sort of a possible military op. They want to talk about all manner of things. But one of the most important things to me when I think about it in hindsight is that missing time. And was it, let's say, jarred out of them somehow? And that, to me, well, is what brings us here tonight. If you want to be part of the show, we are taking calls on Discord and the phone line, 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. We're here with James. You're going to sit in, James?
Yes, I am.
Right on. Stay right there. We'll get back to James momentarily. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. When missing time happens and our perception of time being as malleable as it is, what the hell is going on? This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back. More on the way.
Ticking clock, can you see it? Time keeps flying, never feel it. Memories lost, we keep on dreaming. Waves of sound, they're always streaming. Electric mind, a flicker, it glows. In this moment, our spirit flows. Capture the thoughts, a wild ride. Our brains the ride, no need to hide. Take me back, let it go. In the echoes we glow. Time's a river, let it flow. We're the dreamers, let it show. Memories flash like neon lights. Fleeting shadows and endless nights. Riding waves on a silver stream. Chasing thought, living the dream. Minds like a time machine, no end. Every moment we transcend. Feel the rhythm, hearts on fire. We won't stop, take us higher. Take me back, let it go. In the echoes we glow. Time's a river, let it flow. We're the dreamers, let it show. Fleeting but forever shine. Through the chaos we will find the essence of the human mind. Take me back, let it go. In the echoes we go. Time's a river, let it flow. We're the dreamers, let it show. Fragments still twist like smoke in the air. Jigsaw pieces that seem so rare. With every heartbeat the time reveals the stories hidden, the truth that heals. Memories replay in vivid hues. A kaleidoscope of the life we choose. Riding wave thought, we intertwine with the pulse of the universe.
Yeah. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Part of that was good. What's up? Hope you guys are doing well tonight. What's up, Gaston, Matt Sell, JJ? What's up, Roving Fungus, Jeff and Wisco? What's up, Brandon is here. How you doing? Welcome back. We got Don Sweets, Daryl, Sora, Hirsch, the Quantum. What's up, Q? The Roberts. Who is that? I don't recognize the avatar. What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. Just doing what we do, hanging out. That's DD. How you doing? What's up? What's up? D-Dash, I see you over there on Discord. I'm gonna just try and say hi to everybody real fast. And if I missed you, don't worry, I'll get back to you. What's up, Sage is here. Sweets, how you doing? Eli, King of Hueco Mundo. Eli, I said Eli, what's going on? Anything is possible. What's up, Ricky? Hello, Mr. Mission Control. I see you guys. Yeah, what's up, Sylvain? What's up, Jen? I see you there. Good evening, guys. Hope you're well. Deborah, hello. Good. Welcome back, Deb. Good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Hello. Richard in Texas. Okay, here we go. Trouble Minds coming up, and lots of other things. I'll get back to the what's up, Gordo, Hiker, what's up, North Vixen. I see you guys. If I missed you, don't worry, Puff. I see you. Here we go. We're going to circle back and say hi. More Trouble Minds coming up in about 5 seconds. More from James. We got the Robert, and it looks like MJ on the line as well. Love to hear your thoughts about missing time. Real or nah? Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight we're talking missing time. Could time vanish without a trace? Not stolen, but rerouted by forces we can't yet measure. What if minds can slip from the moment? Or if unseen technologies quietly edit reality in real time? Yeah, lots in play here. And of course, we're going back to the original sort of zeitgeist shock on this, which was the Betty and Barney Hill situation, which, as you guys are very familiar with, we've talked about this quite a lot on this show over the years, and many people have really dissected the entire situation of their experience because it runs the gamut. It runs the alien abduction phenomenon. It runs the actual aspect of missing time, like I'm describing, maybe a military op being used, MK Ultra type stuff. It's a lot there. And then it goes into that hypnotic regression of both of them being regressed separately and telling a similar tale of alien abduction and being taken aboard a ship and all manner of terrifying things happening. But like I said, if you guys haven't listened to those tapes, I do recommend going and checking them out because they are on YouTube and they seem absolutely terrified in that hypnotic regression state, retelling their tale, which again is incredibly wild. Do you believe it? Do you believe there's some other aspect of it happening with the time dilation bit? Or how weird does it get, really, is the question. Let me read just a little bit of this. There's like a paragraph and a half or something on the Betty and Barney Hill thing. It's in the write-up. I just want to make sure we're on the same page here and make sure that if you guys have not actually studied up on this recently, that we have an actual bit here so we can kind of have a reality staple together. So here we go. Where is it? 1 second here. The write-up is very good tonight, so if you want to check that out, here you go. So a classic reference point in the discussion of lost time is the Betty and Barney Hill case from 1961. Often cited as a prototype for modern alien abduction narratives, it also fits squarely into the framework of unexplained temporal disruption. The Hills were driving through rural New Hampshire when they reported seeing a large, silent craft hovering above the road. What followed was a cascade of anomalies. Their watches stopped functioning, Barney's shoes were inexplicably scuffed as if he had been dragged, and Betty's dress was torn. But most notably, there were 2 hours of missing time, an unaccounted for gap in memory that both of them experienced simultaneously. Initially, they had no clear recollection of what happened during that period. It was only later, under separate hypnosis sessions, as I said, that their accounts emerged of being taken aboard a craft, examined by non-human entities, and subjected to procedures that now form the scaffolding of classic abduction lore. Yet, even if one sets aside the extraterrestrial framing, which we can do because, look, we're smart people and we can kind of peel things apart and look at different aspects of particular cases. In this particular space, two people traveling a familiar route lost a measurable segment of their lived experience, one that would be filled in only by retroactive reconstruction under altered states of consciousness. This whole thing is incredibly weird, and it brings into the conversation as well that hypnotic regression stuff and how trustworthy is that. It's a mind screw, all of this. And so, like I said, if you listen to those tapes, Betty and Barney Hill were both very terrified, retelling the tale of this. And so do I believe they believed it happened? Absolutely. What really happened, though? And what about this missing time? What do we know about it? Anything on that, James? We'll go to some calls.
Yeah, just that it seems possible it could have been government in any number of ways. There's also a lot of things that happened after the whole abduction where their home was broken into, and I forget now. There were other things like almost like Men in Black kind of stuff too, I believe. So there are weird things that happen after that could also possibly be tied to this whole operation being done on them, not only during just the abduction, but after the fact as well. But yeah, I have listened to only a couple of times because that's so rough to the tapes of them during the hypnotic session, and that's if they're actors, they're doing a very good job.
Yeah, it is so traumatic; it's hard to listen to. And they are terrified, absolutely terrified. And again, like I said, I don't know. I think you could probably dig into this, and do the scientific stuff and maybe, do some, maybe the science wasn't the best with the regression techniques and who knows. And I think that's definitely a fair assumption to make in a lot of cases. But this one sort of catapulted the idea of alien abduction into the zeitgeist. But what it didn't do was kind of catapult the idea of missing time into the zeitgeist, which is strange. The alien thing took off, but the missing time part which is more bizarre to me than aliens. Because I mean, unless it's alien technology or something, nobody really talks about that anymore, do they? It's an odd thing. You're the best, brother. Appreciate you very much. If you got anything, go ahead. We'll go to some calls.
Just real quick, I wouldn't say it. Yeah, I would say the missing time thing. It wasn't kept brought forward as much as the alien thing, but enough shows and enough things that I've listened to over the years, it is brought up frequently. So I don't know if it just wasn't, but it just didn't make it to the mainstream or didn't get focused on. But it's always been talked about within sort of the circles that do talk about these things. So it's been there. Just no one knows what to do with it, I guess.
Yeah, well, because it's complicated, as usual, right? As I like to say, these things are very complicated, and you're right. So in the weirdo circles like us, where we talk about these things, people do focus on that. You're right, but I think, like I said, the zeitgeist picked up on the aliens, but they didn't pick up on the missing time so much. It's a weird thing. It's weird how this kind of stuff kind of rolls out into the greater ecosystem of ideas. But yeah, fire stuff. You're the best. We'll get back to James momentarily. We got a bunch of calls. Appreciate you guys with the hands up. Robert's first. We got MJ coming up and Night Stalker and Solar. I'm not sure who was first there, but let's go to the Robert. He was first in line here. And we're talking missing time tonight. Basically, what do you know about it? Is it possible to sort of shock us out of a time space and bring us back as if a phony coma, as I suggested? And do you think it is possible with some level of technology? Let's go to the Robert. What's up, brother? Welcome to the joint. How are you tonight? And all yours. Go right ahead.
I'm fine. The thing about the Betty and Barney Hill, you could just about scrub all that, most of what they had to say. All right. What convinced me, beyond a shot of a doubt, that their experience was real was the fact that in her hypnotic state, she claimed that she was being probed with needles, including one that was pierced through her navel. That could an amniocentesis is what that is, and this probing her navel as an amniocentesis happened. This is what, 1960, years before amniocentesis became part of the pregnancy experience.
Yeah, which was one of the theories too, by the way, is if they were trying to do some sort of testing on human subjects in a really shady, clandestine way, where they didn't have to fess up to it, and that is one of the theories as part of this. But still, again, they would have to be able to induce some level of temporal dilation, some weird psychosis, some sort of screen memories of the alien abduction. So I mean, there's a lot there that kind of, as usual, right? When you look at all the pieces of this, a lot of it doesn't smell right, just because it seems like there was a manipulated aspect of it somehow. But what does that mean at this point? Again, 1961. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, and again, it's years before amniocentesis became a standard practice in a medical field, in the human medical field.
Exactly.
So that's the part, like I said, that convinced me that this is all true, what they had experienced. I would like to talk about missing time.
I'd love to hear it. Go right ahead.
My own experience, and it's a small experience, but it's frequent. A lot of times I have to get up at 6 o'clock, largely because my cat insists upon it. Right, because she wants fed. Anyway, so I fall asleep, and then I wake up and I'll look at my clock, illuminated digits. Look with one eye and I'll see, let's say it's 3:45. Clock says, oh, well, I got a few, an hour or so more that I can go back to sleep. Then I wake up and then I'll look and it says 2:45. This happens frequently. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm trying to figure out what's the tie in there. And I think I may have figured it out. This usually happens on nights when I stay up to 1 o'clock in the morning listening to Troubled Minds.
So we're inducing time travel. I told you I was a wizard. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and I'm not being silly. This happens, like I said, frequently. But again, it seems like it happens. Like I'll go to bed tonight at 1 o'clock. All right, which is 1 o'clock Eastern time. All right. I mean, it's like still daylight out there where you're at. But I go to bed, and that'll happen. I automatically wake up at a particular time. I'll see a time on the clock, and then I'll back to sleep, and then I'll look again, and it's like 45 minutes on.
Yeah, I wonder. As they say, right?
An extra 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, and it does go back to, like I said, there are sayings like we know about this stuff. It is a human experience. Time flies when you're having fun. Okay. And then, when you have to go to work or go to school, everything seems to slow down. So there's this time dilation effect that it is malleable to the human experience. However, can it be manipulated by some outside presence? And in this case, maybe the presence of this show, maybe the presence of these conversations. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe part of that is that we're tapping into a level of frequency or vibration that maybe will sort of cause that. I don't know. I don't know how that technology would work, but I'm certainly open to the idea of it being possible.
Yeah, I wonder, a while back, what was it, maybe January, there was a number of cities, including my own, by the way, that experienced this mysterious fog. And I wonder if there, if there are any stories yet to come out from that where people drove through that fog and experienced missing time.
Maybe. And I think that's one of them too. I was kind of going through some of the tropes of missing time and, that walking the lonely country road into a fog, that's definitely one of them. It's one of the tropes that kind of comes out of this. So I do wonder. And I think they described it as like a metallic fog, right? Like it was kind of acidic in some way and not a natural fog. I don't know. I think it was a little bit of a kind of like the UFO flap in New Jersey where a bunch of people saw it and experienced it, but it kind of just came and went and then nobody talked about it afterward.
Yeah, it pretty much went the wayside. It's not a story anybody's talking about anymore. But it was just mysterious. I mean, different cities separated by hundreds or even thousands of miles, experiencing that mysterious fog. Anyway, I'm going to get off. I'm going to get back and listen. And I just wanted to bring my little experience with it doesn't amount to much, but happens frequently on looking at my clock, seeing a time, and then waking back up and seeing that it's I've gained another 45 minutes.
Nice. Yeah, let me know if you crack the secret of that. I'd love to try it. You're the best.
I know the secret. It'll happen tonight because I'm listening to Troubled Minds, and I'll probably stay up till 1 o'clock, way past my old bedtime. And it'll happen all over again.
Fair enough. So I guess we do know the trigger. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for staying up late with us and being part of this. And thanks for the call. Always a pleasure, my man.
Yes,
All right. We love him. That's the Roberts. And again, affectionately, the Robert in Pennsylvania, a mentor of mine and mentor of us all. Check out his book, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit. It is, yes, the Robert. It says just like it sounds, all the way down to T, because the Robert is the official title. I like to call him Ella Robert these days because we're kind of tight. And go check out his book. It's called Stories from a Fractured Mind, the Robert Collection. It is very good. I've read it. And let's help each other out. Like I said, we don't have to compete. We can help win together. And so let's do that by buying the books of the people that participate in this show and enrich these conversations. And Robert is definitely chief among them and been a good friend for a very long time. Appreciate the call. So sorry, I bumped you down. If you want to pop back up here, just put your hand up a little later. We'll work you back in. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. We're talking missing time tonight. Where does it go? Do you think it's possible to induce this with some sort of technology? And beyond that, is it something that we can control in larger or wider aspects? And do you think it's possible that we can kind of shock it out of not just a few minutes, but maybe you can shock yourself into next week, right? What's that term? I'm not going to say it because it's derogatory in 2025, but in 1985 it was funny. I'm not going to say it, but right, something about next week and anyway, but something you would say to your children or something as a threat. But anyway, so as a joke threat, not a real threat. I know it's not funny, but okay. So love to hear your thoughts on this. We are talking time dilation and what happens with this. Can it be induced, and how large does the gap become if you can? And is it a technology? Is our mind the technology, consciousness as the technology? And how weird does this get? MJ coming up. Anything real quick on that, James, what Robert said, and we'll go to MJ.
Just that great call from Robert. Mists and fogs and all those things are fairly common, and a lot of anomalous things that happen before, during, or after a fog or a mist. Something weird will happen, a UFO, an alien, a creature, ghost, whatever. A lot of that stuff will be appearing around the same time or vanishing around the same times as a fog or a mist.
Yeah. So, that's all coming together, at least conceptually. But what does it mean? As usual, right? Conclusions few, questions many. Let's talk. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Thanks for being patient, my man. MJ in Virginia. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
I'm doing really good. I want to explain a couple of things. When you talk about missing time, when we go to sleep, let's say you go to sleep at 10 or 11, you wake up at 5, you have no recollection of that time in between. You were asleep. So that's missing time. Okay, it's low form. I've had missing time, and you mentioned something about Bounty, the commercial where things slow down. I had my Road King, and I'm going up to northern Arizona. Lots of little tiny roads, scenic and everything. And there's one part going up to what's it? I can't remember. Baghdad, Arizona. This little tiny road. It had a rock hanging over it, but visibly it looked that way, but it was not. It was an optical illusion. And I passed it, went down. There was a T-stop coming up, so I stopped to rest because I've been going for like 8 hours. And I sat there, and I was thinking to myself, I said, well, I'll go back the way I came home. It's like 4:30 in the afternoon. I want to get back. It's hot. And I looked back to that rock, and I instantly felt like if I go back that way, I'm going to get killed. Somebody's going to hit me. So I went at the T-stop. I took the T-stop back to Wickenburg, and I thought, well, I'll survive this way. What's coming up, I'll survive. I had no idea, but I had this god-awful gut feeling. So I head up the little road, and I came to a hill to where it was just, you couldn't look over it. I wasn't tall enough. So I kind of pulled over to the edge of the road, just kind of going slow in case something came flying over. And the pavement broke away. So, and the shoulder there was no shoulder. You went down a hill. And this is where you and I have something that we relate with. And so I hit the motorcycle, hit the rock. I went flying through the air, and things do slow down. Because I looked up at the sky, I was just looking up, and it was slow. I mean, very calm. I looked at it, is this the day it ends for me? What's going on here? And I'm thinking this, and I'm just looking at the clouds. I'm flying through. All of a sudden, what brought me back in, I face planted into a pile of gravel. Of course, I'm laying there for, a while, and I finally got it together, and a truck drove by and helped me get the bike up, and I rode home. But those things do happen. Cops actually talk about that. When time slows down, when they're in this big panic rush things are going on, some of them have experienced this slowdown of time, and it actually gave them time to think about what they were doing. So I thought that was interesting. Now you talk about time loss being abducted or out of control of. Okay, because when you're asleep, you're in a comfort place. You're in your comfort, you relax, you sleep, so you're not expecting anything. And my time loss is different, because I knew there was a pull, and I was fighting to be here, and I also witnessed other things, but I had a 20-minute loss driving up to this little town I lived in. You have to go up this 9-mile hill, and I lost 20 minutes. I literally knew where it stopped, and I knew where it started up when I got going, and there was this big fog thing in my head going on, but because you've done this route so many times, you have memory of going that way, but I lost 20 minutes there. And later on, there was another one. We've talked about this before. I was going up Central, and I thought I was being taken, but I was being put back in. And I think over the time period of experiences, I think either they did or we did or whoever's doing the abductions figured out how to take splicing tape to your memory, like you would an old film. They splice it together, new credits, old credits, kind of take this part of the film out and we'll do it here, and they can slice it, put splicing tape on it. I think somewhere along the line, someone learned how to do that, so where they cut the tape or your memory and put splicing tape on, that abduction that happened is hanging down below that, like a little droplet, or just it's a loop of some sort, and you have to undo the splicing tape and pull that out to get it. Because when I got to work that day, I was an hour late. And I know I left it. I was supposed to be at 8 o'clock. I know I left at 7:45. I know I did. But I didn't get there until 9. And my truck, it was a brand new truck, and the clock on the truck read 7:45. But when I got to work, it said 9 o'clock. And I looked up at the clock on the wall. It said 9 o'clock. And the manager was mad. I went, "Why you're late?" It's like, oh, I can't even explain why I was late. What do I say?
The dog ate my homework or whatever. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I was abducted.
Yeah, exactly. It's wild. So not only do you have it happened, the corroborating thing there is the clock itself. And so there is a corroborative aspect to this, but what causes it? So do you think this is actually some technology that's sort of being used, whether it's an alien technology or ours? What's your take on that?
Oh, it's technology, absolutely. We've talked about my last abduction I had, and everything happened. I had something happen. I talked to James about it. I don't know if I talked about you on your show or not, but I talked to James about it, and I can't remember now. But it's a type of technology. It's time manipulation of some sort to do that. Either it's in your memory or it's in the air. Because when I was going up Central, that one I was telling you about getting to work, I was fighting Sting. I thought, oh, you're taking me. And they were putting me back. That's what I mistaken the whole thing. They would have put me back because I could look up Central from about, say, Thomas or Indian School, and all the buildings on the left were bent over at a right angle. I mean, I'm looking at it like, huh? And they were bent over at a right angle. Short, tall, didn't matter, bent over. I looked to my right. Everything was normal. I looked to my left. The buildings were bent over. And at that point in time, I'm really freaking out, trying to pay attention to my driving just to get to work. So there's a mental technology that they do this with, but they are also taking you physically. Or if they do that, they're superseding their reality over yours. And they have the ability to control all of that. And I would dare say, since I'm on the East Coast and you have Quantico, Occoquan, and Langley and all these other areas, that some manipulation could, if they have that technology, they could be doing it here or down in Florida, North Carolina. So there is technology to it.
Okay. I love it. Yeah. A lot of ways to look at this. And that's one of the things that dawned on me when I was thinking about this, just sort of free thinking kind of, okay, so what might cause this? Can we cause it through meditation? Would it be some sort of meditative, experience that we can induce? Or is it a technological aspect? And I think we answered some of that on what you believe here with it. Regarding the missing time itself, do you think maybe some people are predisposed to this? And I asked this question about many things here. Or do you think it is something we sort of wander into as a part of the technological space? But to clarify the question, is there something that's happening outside of the technology you're describing where this might happen as a naturally occurring phenomenon?
Yes. What my feeling is, or what I think is, even with all our technology, like I said, our bodies are naturally set to heal themselves, psychic ability, all this stuff. And within a meditation, if you meditate and you go out of it, I've gone out of it. I've been out there. And I had missing time because I'm looking at this whole other area. It's like I see the alien, or not alien, but species, whatever going on. And they turned around and looked back at me through my third eye. They literally shoved their eye up against mine. And it pulled me right out of that meditation. My head actually flew back and hit the wall. That's a time dilation right there. So how do you think of it? So we have it naturally, because you can go along and just sort of, like James is saying, you sort of skip through time. How did he do that? Was it an abduction, or he just sort of got there early? I've heard people talk about this before, like they got there in 5 minutes, or it's a half hour and 15 minutes. I think there's something that we do naturally that any of the technology we have coming, we also as beings do naturally. And I think it's everywhere.
Perfect. As you know, just about out of time here, unless you got anything to add at the 5 minutes later. If you want to wait, you're welcome to stick and add a little bit. We got Derek the Night Stalker coming in. He said, give MJ a little extra time if he needs it. So I concur. Unless you're tapped, you tell me.
Oh, I'm never tapped. If you're going into break?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I'll hang on. I got one more thing I want to talk about.
Okay, stay right there. We're on the line here with MJ in Virginia. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. We're talking about missing time. And there's a lot of ways to look at this. Is it some sort of technology? Is it something we can induce with a meditative aspect? Is it some combination thereof? And back to Betty and Barney Hill in 1961. That's really the basis of this in the modern context. What does it mean? What does it look like, and how weird does it get? This is Troubled Minds on Michael Strange. Be right back. Don't go anywhere.
In a cryogenic slumber, lost in the lunar night, your face a faded number among the stars so bright. Dreams of forgotten echoes, waiting for time's command. Curtains of gray and sorrow, the lonely lunar sand. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we try. Silent by your where ancient souls reside, suspended in a story, kept in the cold dark tide. Our futures in the making, in silver-edged domain, hearts kept in silent aching, till we meet once again. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we try. Frozen time we're resting, waiting for dawn's embrace. Whispers of love confessing in this forgotten place. We are awake below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we try.
You betcha, Bippy. What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. Gordo, North Vixen, Hiker over there on Rumble. What's up, Puff? I see you. Good evening, Hiker. What's up? What's up? Yeah, if I missed you guys, just say hi. I'll say hi back, trying to keep up with the whole thing here and include everybody. And thanks for spending your time and energy. I appreciate it very much. It's better than me mumbling to myself in the corner. We get to talk to smart people about amazing things here. Thanks for all the great calls so far and the great chat. Thanks for being nice to each other. It's important to me. I hope it's important to you. What's up, Mr. Mission Control? Quantum Quantum is here. Good evening, guys. Like I said, if I miss you, just say hi and I'll say hi back. And what's up? RC's here. Good evening. I see you. Tyler. Yeah, Tyler, I saw your comment earlier. Yeah, we will do a baseball show. We've got one planned for this summer sometime with Herschel. He's gonna co-host that. So we'll it's up in the air. It's definitely one of those ones I always want to talk about, but it always feels like some other weirder stuff kind of bubbles to the surface here. What's up, Sweets? Fred, I see you. What's up? Eli's here. Then Derek the Night Stalker coming up. Yeah, if I missed you, just say hi. What's up, Dawn? Good evening. Good evening. Hello, Deborah. Yeah, great stuff. Deborah says we can't be the only ones here in this great big universe. They could be much more advanced than us. Listening to NDEs, there is no time on the other side. Exactly. And especially when you talk time dilation with technology and aliens, it gets super weird, super weird. Absolutely. Troubled Minds coming up in 10 seconds. Here we go. More from MJ, more from James, Derek the Night Stalker, and Sora coming up. Hang tight, Sora. We'll get to you as soon as possible. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds, yada, yada, all the things, all the places. We got callers waiting here. We're talking missing time tonight. I'm calling it the edited hour, time that wasn't there. Is it possible that this can be induced? Is it possible it's some level of technology? Is it possible we can do this to ourselves? Is it possible this is a natural phenomenon in some cases and we sort of walk into it like a time slip? What the hell is going on with this? And how come it's acknowledged by science and yet we understand so little about that human entropy cycle and how we experience time? Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Hang tight, James. We're going to go back to MJ. MJ, welcome back. How you doing? Go right ahead. You had something else to add to the joints. All yours, sir.
Yeah. You remember the pictures I sent you of my shoulder of the last abduction and all the mess they did to my left shoulder? There was nerve damage to it. Okay. Now, about a week and a half ago, I woke up and my left thumb joint was jammed. I can still use it sort of, kind of, but it still hurts a lot, okay? For no reason. It went to bed, it wasn't jammed, woke up jammed, and it hurt. And about a week ago, I'm sitting there. So it's been a week and a half or 2 weeks now. I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at it. All of a sudden, it felt like there was a tentacle going from the thumb joint up my forearm. I'm looking directly at it, feeling it, but not seeing it, like it was on top of the muscle, but underneath the skin. So it's going up there, and it bypassed, we got the elbow, it bypassed the elbow, but it went back into my bicep, up to that area on my shoulder where the scab was, and all the blood blisters. And it spread out and was touching all those areas, and then it retracted itself there, and then it retracted back down into my thumb. There was some sort of, and I kind of asked somebody about it, and basically there's implants. I guess they're talking to one another. But, to sit there and watch that, and knowing what I had done to my shoulder, because like I said, there was nerve damage. I had nerve damage on my left shoulder up to the left side of my ear, and then it retracted back down, and it went back to normal. But for that to happen like that, it's that, again, I have physical proof of things going on, and there's no one to tell. I mean, there's nobody I can tell that's credible that, yeah. But yeah, that was the strangest thing.
Well, that's not terrifying at all. Well, you got us and I'm with you, and I'm making fun of myself here. As uncredible as I am, I believe you, brother. I believe you. And I'm sorry you went through that. And thank you for sharing those experiences, because the reason, once again, one of the main reasons we do it in this format is because there may be somebody out there that experienced something similar and needed to hear that. So fire stuff as always, brother. Appreciate you very much.
Well, that's why I call in.
Perfect. Go ahead.
No, I said that's why I call in, because I've had the experiences. Somebody else out there will have, I'm not the only one, or, okay, I'm not crazy kind of thing, because those things do happen. But it was just, just sit there and watch your arm, and you can feel this whole thing going on, and then it retracted back down to your thumb. And my thumb's not much better. I thought there'd be a healing, but nothing's going on. But there was a communication of some sort between the thumb joint and the shoulder.
Super weird and terrifying. And like I said, you got us, brother. Appreciate the testimony and the ideas on the time stuff. And always a pleasure. Thanks for hanging over, and thanks for being a good friend for such a long time.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
Have a great night. You're the best. You know me, love him. MJ in Virginia, and all manner of experiences with MJ. He's kind of been run the gamut of these ideas, not just with us talking about them, but he's experienced so many things. And this, once again, this is why it's important to talk to each other, because you just never know. You never know what people have seen. You never know what they've experienced, and you never know what that brings as part of that experience or effect, however you want to sort of quantify that. But it's a wild world we live in, that's for sure. 100%. Hang tight, Derek. Just one sec. Anything on that, James, and then we'll go to Derek the Night Stalker.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that you and MJ said there. It's these things happen. If there's time later on, I will go over my possible abduction experience again, because it may fit, may not, but there are physical effects, it seems, to a lot of these things, and I don't know how or why, but they happen. So looking forward to the rest of the calls.
And looking forward to more from you. You're the best. I'd love to hear what you think about this. We're talking time dilation, 702-957-1037. Missing time, more proper. Click the Discord link. Come say hi. Let's go to Derek in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. What's up, brother? Welcome to the joint. Thanks for chiming in. Love to hear your take on this. Talking missing time, how weird does this get? And what does it strike you as? Is it something you've experienced? Is this something you got to take on? As you know, nonlinear, open-ended. All yours, brother. Go right ahead.
Yeah. Wild stuff, and great calls, everybody, so far. What's going on, James, Bruder? I haven't experienced it in a paranormal way, or a way I can't explain, but I have experienced it in like a medical way. Do you ever get or do you ever have an operation before? Like either one of you have like gone under before? Either one of you?
Once, years and years and years ago.
Yeah, just when I was a kid, like I was I had my wisdom teeth taken out, and it was that snap your fingers and you're out. Yeah, and so mine was snap your fingers, you're out, and then you wake up 2 hours later and you're in the car driving home. So definitely, I experienced that. Yep.
Mine was weird. Like I it was my wisdom teeth too, and so they have us. This is like 15 years ago, whatever. And they have us have our like a playlist on our iPods, so we can listen to our own music and stuff. So from my perception of it, I'm sitting in the chair. They're getting me ready. They're like, okay, turn the music on. They put like the gauze in my mouth or whatever, so I can't really talk right. And then I'm like picking my songs, and then from my perspective, the song ends. And I'm like, oh damn, I gotta fix it. And I'm trying to like mess with the song. And they're like going into my mouth now. I'm like, oh no, don't start yet, because I have to fix my music. I'm like, no, the music. And they're like, no, don't worry about it. It's all over. I'm like, it's all over. I'm like, huh, what? Like literally just making this sound, what? And then so I blinked out like an hour and 15 minutes from my perspective, it wasn't like I drifted off to sleep. It was like I'm listening to music. My song stops, no break in that, but in that. It stopped because the playlist ran out, It was like 45 minutes later, So that was kind of a weird time thing. And that's a drug that we use during all operations and everything. And redheads are apparently, it requires more anesthesia than the average person, apparently, according to memes I've seen for the last 20 years. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but as far as people are prone to time weirdness, I wonder if that like anesthesia weirdness is an aspect of it. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Regarding the redhead stuff, there's a whole mess of like weird redhead stuff. And if you guys don't know, Derek is the not just the official synchro mystic of Troubled Minds, he's also our resident ginger. So that's what we're talking about. So I mean, but yeah, I've read some other weird stuff, and when you feel up to it, we should circle back and kind of do a show on just that, because I mean, there's some weird stuff. This Satika. I believe is how you say it, the redheaded giants, and there's of Lovelock Cave. There's a lot of really weird stuff with that we'll kind of circle back to. But I have read that thing you're describing, where redheads have that sort of natural resistance to anesthesia, and that is a little bit terrifying, because it means you could sort of be in a halfway stasis as something like this is happening. I mean, half awake, half asleep, as they're like operating on you. I mean, oh dear God, talk about it. I mean, nightmare fuel.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I only have the one example. So you mentioned wisdom teeth, and you said you were just in the chair, zonked out, woke up in your car. I had the same operation, assumingly the same anesthesia, zonked out in the chair, woke up. He's still operating on my mouth. Like it was over, but like he didn't take the gauze out. There's still tools in my mouth. He was still like rummaging around in my mouth, So that's a 20-minute difference or whatever. Like however long it takes to end the operation and get into the car, which could be the difference of just the color of my hair. It's hard out here for a ginger.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. Funny. I was my brother was here recently and I was telling him about you and that I'm like, he described Mark McGuire as the alpha ginger. And we both fell out of our chair laughing because of course we're big baseball fans and we grew up at the Oakland Coliseum watching Mark McGuire take batting practice. So it still sticks with me that day when you said that. It cracks me up. But he literally almost fell out of his chair. We were both like, oh God, so great. Anyway, go ahead.
Sweet's just messaged me saying that she heard that cannabis might affect anesthesia, so that could be the number one culprit too. That could be why.
A lot of things in the air. Hey, you never know.
Yeah, a lot of elements happening. Back when I first started listening to podcasts, like when I first started working overnight, one of the first ones I listened to was Radio Lab, and they had an episode that really sticks in my mind about time and how our perception of time changed when they invented the railroads, because that created the need for time zones to have like unified clocks through all these counties across the country, and just the induction of time zones and like stopping at railroad tracks at these time zones, which like manipulated the way humans perceive time. And I don't even know what it was before because we've only grown up in time since then. And like there's like aspects of different types of clocks. Like there's some kind of cool like plant flower clock where it's they put up on a wall, and there's one flower that blooms at midnight, one flower that blooms at 1, at 2, at 3, and then so as the different flowers are blooming around the circle of flowers, you can tell what time it is based on, like which is blooming, and just different weird time things. But the crux of the episode was that there's a condition that people experience time very weirdly, and they were like they had a scientific study where they were like observing these people who have this condition and watching them do tasks. And like, I don't know, it's been like 10 years since I listened to it, but so I forget the task, but say it's just like folding laundry. That's not what it was, but just say it was. They record the person folding laundry. They like have them do a task. Then they have them like stop it, come outside of the lab. Hey, how long did you think it took you to do that? I don't know, 10, 15 minutes? Okay, well, actually it took you 2 hours, and we have the footage. Let's watch. So this person's moving at regular speed when he's like talking about it afterwards, but during the thing, he's moving like I mean, he thought it was 10 minutes. It took him 2 hours, and so we just imagine how slowly all of his moving, and the same condition.
Yeah, you're cutting out just a smidge. Hang tight 1 second here.
It's the other way. Like, how long do you think that took? Oh, I don't know, like 20 minutes. No, actually, like
I'm not sure that's me.
Black. And I couldn't remember the name. Tachypsychia. Time perceived by the individual either lengthens, making events appear to. Did I lose you?
You're good. We hear you now.
You're good.
Yeah, you came back. Yep, you're good.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So you said what's it called? Tacky.
You hear me say tachypsychia and stuff?
Yeah. We heard that. So start there. What's it called? Tacky.
Tacky. You talk for a minute. Make sure my answer's okay. You go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we're talking this missing time tonight, and we're missing a little bit of time right now, technologically speaking. But it happens, right? It's okay. Don't sweat it. He takes it hard when stuff like this happens. But it's just the way this thing goes. But basically, look, we're kind of hearkening this back to the Betty and Barney Hill situation, or we're talking about anesthesia in this capacity of consciousness, kind of being shut off and then turned back on. And it seems as time travel in some capacity, but then also, can this be induced in other ways, not just through anesthetic and, sort of the surgery capacity here, but some other thing that was maybe used on Betty and Barney Hill as a technological aspect. So MJ thinks so, yes, maybe, and possibly, and all the things combined, technology, some sort of actual natural aspect of it. A lot of things in play here. And what does it mean? And can we actually sort of push the level of this missing time and the human time aspect beyond reckoning and actually step out of time itself? And Derek, welcome back. You were describing too that individual that was kind of moving fast and then not, and then time had passed 2 hours and the rest. So we got most of that. But if you're there, welcome back, and go right ahead, sir. Yep. Weird. It's happening again.
Was call robot for a long time. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. It's fine. You're back now. We hear you loud and clear. Except no, it's robot again. Yep. Okay. We'll get back to Derek. James, anything on that? Any of the aspect of what he was talking about? And we'll get back to him in a second here. He's gonna do his magic, or maybe call the phone line. What you got?
Yeah. Just for reference, I got my tonsils taken out when I was little. I don't know. I'm not even really sure how old I was. Maybe 5, maybe no older than 10, I think. But I remember I remember being brought into the operating room and going out, just them knocking me out, and then I came back to, and I was in one of the regular rooms in the hospital, and everything was over. It was all done, and so it felt like nothing. It felt like no time at all, and it's just the weirdest thing, But I do think, going back to also what MJ said, I do think that I agree that these things, there's probably natural things that happen with time and weirdness with people because, again, some of these things had happened, and other people have had happen. There doesn't seem to be anyone else around. So not that means automatically it wasn't anyone else, but it just seems like it's possible it could have been us and or the environment that did these things somehow.
Yeah, exactly right. What's a lot of good chat here. I'll circle back on the chat. Thanks guys for the great ideas. It's a weird thing. All of this stuff is a weird thing, and not just let's say that it's funny that I didn't think of it this way, but certainly the anesthesia part of this is a technology we've discovered as humans. But still, it's unclear where we go when that light switch is turned off. When consciousness goes dark and then comes back. And Fred describes a really terrifying one where he woke up in the middle of an operation or surgery or something. And in the chat, I'll read that in a second here. But and hopefully, Derek, if you got some time later, peel it back and maybe we'll recycle on the tachypsychia, which seems terrifying. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll go to Sora. Working out because he's been waiting a long time. Sorry about that, Derek. Like I said, if you got time later, just pop back in and you know where to find us. Sora from not Discord, Sora from X. Just accept the invite there and then unmute, and you're on Troubled Minds. And you're welcome to stay past the break too, because we're cutting you a little short, but I'm not sure how much you got. Sora, how you doing? Welcome to the joint. Just hit go. There's like a green hand that'll bump you on the stage, and then after that, just unmute. Are you there? Sora test. 1, 2, 3. Sora. All right, I'm gonna read Fred's comment because this is terrifying. this is not good. Fred said it happened to me, and he said this. I started gasping for air and grabbing at my throat. Suddenly, I saw a mask come to my face, and I was out. The doctor said it took a lot to put me out. And he says, I think Sweets is right. I smoked the night before. Oh no. Okay, so now you know what not to do if you've got a surgery coming, because that is absolutely terrifying. Holy smokes. Yeah, wild. I don't know. This type of thing really kind of creeps me out because, like I said, there's a larger contextual aspect to missing time because we all experience it in minor doses. But in the macro dose of this, how far can you stretch the limits? Love to hear your thoughts. Sora, welcome to the joint. You are on. Just unmute and go right ahead.
I think. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? This whole chat, I mean, this is extremely interesting to me. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Oh, because I've experienced missing time in all sorts of ways, all but the abduction way, through meditation, through sedation, etc., etc. Some of the more interesting ones was meditation, in which I kind of felt like gained time. But there's one in particular that I want to talk about that is absolutely like out of this world. It's kind of my first introduction into like super paranormal experiences, and it has to do with ostensibly the time I died. It was in 2016, and long story short, I ended up in the hospital, and I passed out because my body was filling with this. It was this kind of fluid, and it was freaking me out, and I kind of just like was asleep. Um, I woke up 3 days later, and like 5 surgeries later in the hospital, and uh, like the thing about this missing time was, and to go back a little, like I've experienced missing time like somewhat as you would describe. I think you guys called it the Mandela, in which people experience two different things going on and uh, people only remember one of these instances. But in my experience with this particular event, I was gone. I fell asleep and I was gone for a long time. I mean, it felt like weeks, months, years went by, all in darkness. It's such a strange event. But I wake up 3 days later, and at first I'm looking around, and the only person there is my mother. Thank goodness. The first thing that happens after I have an experience like that is I see my mother. So I'm calming down, and slowly I feel the memory of where I was fading away from me. So I'm trying to remember, like, I'm like, what happened? What was going on? And the thing is, I passed gave me the anesthetics. And one thing I've noticed about all of these missing time events that I've had throughout my life, most of them were under controlled circumstances, is each kind feels uniquely different from the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. They're a little different, but they're still fundamentally the same thing because you're missing time. You're kind of checking out, then checking back in, and so the difference between, I guess, the darkness between might have a different flavor. I guess maybe that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, this was a flavor like I had never even thought to perceive before. I mean, I thought I was gone for at least a month, maybe like 3. I was gone for a long time. And so when I woke up and started to lose the memory, I was like, no, I need to explain this. What the heck is going on? The memory away from me, but over like the period of like the next 6 months, it started to come back. But it's very interesting because I mean, I've had meditation. I've gotten very good with meditation over like 6 years of doing it, and the thing is, like, you're aware of time passing, but it can be more or less than you actually realize. Like some of my meditation sessions had lasted about 3/4 of the day, and I open my eyes and think that like only a few hours has gone by, but most of the day has gone by. Um, but in the case of when later they told me that I was dead on the table in minutes, which is really really radical, and I still have trouble believing it to this point. But and
Sir,
it was amazing because usually people lose time, but in that way, I felt like I gained a lot of time. Not just because like I was returned the gift of life, as it were, but because I was gone for so long, and part of the perception was it wasn't just the darkness; it was the time that I had to think about things, which made me feel like I was gone for so long because I like covered whole encyclopedias worth of like thought, and it's just really weird. And even some of the things that the other callers were talking about, like NJ in particular, kind of resonated with me in that seems possible through any of these methods. Like one of the technological methods is to down time, and so you experience having more time, whereas anybody outside the field will experience less. Now, I don't know anybody does gravity experiments, but I would deign to guess that there's no telling what kind of dilation you would feel between the gravitational field. But it's very strange to think about all of the different ways in which time can be dilated.
Exactly right. Hey, we're just about out of time. If you're done, cool. If not, you're welcome to stick after the break. You tell me, okay?
Okay, cool. I'll go for now. Gather my thoughts. Raise my hand later.
Okay.
Let others speak.
Okay, perfect. Appreciate the call. Thanks for sharing the experience there, and always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Have a great night. We'll talk to you later. That's Sora. Again, links in the description, troubledminds.org/friends. Follow the Night Stalker while you're there, and also Sora and all the rest of these amazing people that make the show go. This is Troubled Minds on Michael Strange. Be right back. We're talking about missing time. What do you know about it? More on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Crazy colors swirling, got the laughter in the air. Just as in the night, they weave magic everywhere. Clouds are juggling dreams, wild world is in despair. Nothing's quite as certain when reality's a game. Chaos in the corner, whispers calling out your name. Look around, it's laughter, even when we're feeling pain. You know what you want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Dancing shadows flicker under neon all aglow, while the stage is set for tales that nobody will know. Echoes of the laughter as the lost ones see the show. Life's a playful circus where the chaos takes a bow. Joy and sorrow blending in the rhythm that we vow. Join the ride of madness, it's the only way for love. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Twists and turns and shadows, laughter in the night. A tapestry of madness, dancing with the light. Fools and fun were woven, chaos in our stride. Embrace the wild, let the laughter be our guide. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Falling in the rhythms, beats that pound and thrum. A flashing carnival where the misfits come undone. Whirling through the madness with our hearts set to ignite. In the symphony of chaos will remain the shining light. Yeah, nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist.
Something like that. What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. Yeah, you're good, Derek. Like I said, if you feel up to it and you got some time later, peel it out and hop back in. Or if not, that's okay. If you're busy, I understand. All good. It happens. It totally happens. No big deal. What's up? If I missed you guys, just say hi. I'll say hi back. Trying to keep up with everybody. Stephen England, I missed you. How you doing? MJ, great call. Appreciate that. Sora, great call. You guys are the best. Derek, great call. Please follow our friends. You know what to do. troubledminds.org/friends. Just scroll down and follow all these amazing people Like I said, they are compatriots. They are collaborators. They are just very, very smart people that talk about wild ideas. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that thing too that Derek dropped. I'll read that when we get back as well, so we get that on the air there because he was headed somewhere, as you know. What else? If I missed you, what's up, Mattel? I see you there. Good evening. Who else did I miss? If I missed you, sorry about that. Doing my best to keep up here, and you let me know. But here we go. Troubled Minds coming up. Lots of things to consider here. What do you know about missing time? Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Shout out to Jack and Jill and all our friends down there in New Zealand. Tonight we're talking the edited hour, I'm calling this. Time that wasn't there. Now, very simply, it's missing time, okay? Remove all the arty nonsense out of the title there. We're talking about missing time. And this tale goes back in modern parlance and modern sort of folklore and mythology to that Betty and Barney Hill abduction experience. They had a couple hours of missing time. And in that capacity, Cubs, shout out Cubs. Cubs is here too. Sorry about that. But in that capacity, the missing time aspect is really strange because I do wonder if it is a technological aspect. And look, people have described, sort of passing through a time phase, a time slip. We've talked about this in the past as well in different ways. And it is, once again, our perception of time. As they've said philosophically, that time is a human construct. And and to take it cosmic, that would mean, in sort of the counterpoint to the human time experience, would simply mean that everywhere all at once exists. It's all there. Everything's happening, the past, the present, and the future, collectively in the same space. Except we cannot actually experience it that way. We're temporal beings. That, like I said, the human entropy cycle is what sort of locks us in. We're born, we grow up, we get old, we pass. That's it. But imagine if it's not. Imagine if it's quite a bit more complicated than that, and you can sort of shock yourself out of your current time slice, as I like to call it, and maybe experience other ways of looking at the world. I don't know. Maybe not. As usual, I can't, again, like I said, all this stuff is way above my pay grade. So what do I really know other than conceptual thoughts and ideas here? But it's an odd one. And specifically, too, when you go back to, again, Betty and Barney Hill, it's in the write-up. If you guys are interested in the write-up, I do recommend it. It's very good. It's a top link down below once it gets to the links for the show. But it's describing and discussing the alien abduction phenomenon as part of this, which really, as I've said a couple, 3 times tonight, kicked that idea into the zeitgeist. And it really became the modern aspect of not just missing time, but being abducted by aliens. And it's complicated. It's weird. And which actually, by the way, we're taking your calls tonight if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. But it's a nice segue, actually, because James, welcome back, James, has an actual alien abduction experience that's kind of similar-esque to Betty and Barney Hill. Yeah. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. And welcome back, James. How you feeling, brother? Welcome to the thing. What's on your mind, my man?
No, I'm good. Great calls from everyone tonight. And so this happened now it's been about 13, 14 years. Funny enough, as I always say, time is weird. I'm terrible at remembering exactly when things happen. So, but I fell asleep one night, but at the time I was sleeping on a couch in my living room. So I fell asleep late at night. I don't know what time it was. It was dark already. It's probably early morning, knowing me, because I usually don't go to bed before midnight unless I'm not feeling good. But I went to sleep, and I woke up, and this is all very, from here on out, everything is very, I don't know if you want to call it foggy, or it's hard to describe, and it's just, yeah, anyway, I'll just do what I can. I woke up as well as I could tell anyway, and because I could feel that there was not, my couch was not beneath me anymore. I was not laying on my couch. I was laying on a flat, hard surface. My couch it was not the best, but it wasn't that bad. And I opened my eyes and looked around, and I saw I was in a room with blue walls, like a darker blue kind of wall. And there were these white cabinets or shelves that were built into the walls, and they had some kind of electronics in them. Nothing with monitors or screens, but just devices. And there are these 2 or 3 gray blurs, not gray aliens, not gray people, not people wearing gray clothes. They're just like you would see on a video where you're trying to protect someone's identity, where they're just completely blurred out. And it was gray, and they were slowly moving around this table, bed, whatever it was. And I tried to move because I was freaked out because I was at home last I checked. And I couldn't move. All I could do was move my eyes. And so I started to panic. And I heard my parents' voices off to the side. And they both said, everything's okay. You're fine. But there was no emotion in their voices. And I looked over in that direction, and I just saw 2 more of these gray blurs. And so all this time I'm trying to move, and I'm getting more freaked out. I also kept looking up because all I could see above me was light, except there was something coming down from the light that turned out to be this robotic extension or arm kind of thing. And it was slowly coming down as I was trying to move, and these gray blurs were moving around me. Don't know what they were doing. And eventually it came down to where I could see there was a needle at the end of it. And it kept on coming down, and I was trying harder and harder to move because it was coming down toward my head. Now, I was born legally blind. So I was not interested in having any more trouble with that. And so I kept on trying to move, and eventually this needle touched my left eye. And I completely panicked, and then everything, this is sort of where maybe the time weirdness or anesthesia comes in, because I blacked out. Everything blacked out. And then I woke up, and I was back at home. And I don't know if there was missing time. I didn't check my clock. It wasn't like it was hours because it was still dark out. But I have no idea also at this point. I just know I did not go back to sleep that morning anyway. Now, the other part to this that I didn't realize at the time is that until I was talking with friends, some of them that may be listening, that we talk in the Discord here and there, I told them about this a few years ago. And I also have told them and everyone here about how around the same time, not long after that experience, I started experiencing problems with my eyes, light sensitivity, and increased eye strain. And I didn't connect the 2 things until talking with friends, and they pointed it out to me and asked if I thought there was a connection. And I have no idea, but the timing is sort of frightening in that way, because these conditions now that I've been dealing with, they've been getting worse ever since then. And so I'm still dealing with them. And I don't know if that experience caused these things or not, but the timing is very suspicious.
Yeah, which if you don't know, James, of course, I haven't said it tonight, is of course the paranormal expert of Troubled Minds. Again, Salcedo Paranormal is the name of the show. SalcedoParanormal.com. Go check all the stuff out. Go buy his books, all things. Go listen to what he's doing over there, and he's telling you some of his experiences. And thank you for sharing that. I've heard that, but it gets more terrifying every time, because again, that aspect of the needle going into your eye, and then your vision actually physically, eventually, as part of that process, again, maybe not, maybe it was a your body kind of telling you in a subconscious way that your eyes were about to take a downturn or something. You know what I mean? Sort of one of those conceptualized moments made up by your own body, your own self, to explain something about to happen. But even then, it's still a very, very creepy aspect of this. And as usual, right? Perception plays an unbelievable role in all this stuff, and especially the time element. And by the way, that tale there, that actual experience you've had, really echoes what Travis Walton. It kind of feels like that type of tale, which again was with Travis Walton was 1976, I believe, which was Fire in the Sky, if you saw that movie. And previously to that, 1960 was the Betty and Barney Hill bit. So, and I don't mean bit like as in, like they made it up. I mean like the thing they experienced. So I don't know. It is strange how all these things kind of come together and again stick into that zeitgeist. I don't know if you caught this, James, and I probably Derek was going to bring it up in the call. Sad that we dropped that call, but here's the deal, right? He says this: Betty and Barney Hill movie with Demi Moore is in production right now. I didn't know that. Coming off her Oscar campaign, so it will be pretty big. He says it could put the idea, the Betty and Barney Hill, back into the zeitgeist. And here's the weird thing: it's called Strange Arrivals. Strange Arrivals. Shout out, Derek. Whoa.
Wow. Yeah, no, I didn't know that. And I could see that possible explanation that you gave for the experience. I could understand that from maybe other people's point of view. If I hadn't felt the table and the needle, then I could write it off if I hadn't had such vivid feelings of those things. So I don't know if it was alien. I don't know if it was government. I don't know if it was private corporations. I have no idea. But yeah, I know that something happened that night.
Yeah, I don't know. And I wasn't trying to minimize that at all. I was just kind of sort of conceptually thinking of possibilities. I think I brought that up before too. So it's weird. Yeah. It's definitely weird. It's definitely weird, all this stuff. And in particular, the needle in your eye is one of the super, super screwy ones as part of that. Is like, dude, leave my eyes alone, man. Come on, right? Like, can't this man catch a break? Stop it with that nonsense.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. What else you got on that or anything else?
No, and I mean, I don't like to talk about this all the time, but it still literally affects me every day. I deal with my eyes and head hurting at least a little bit as long as I'm awake all the time. And then sometimes it flares up and gets worse. So, and I have dizziness from it sometimes. So it's a life-changing thing that has happened. So, yeah, it's I don't know, but the weird thing with the end there with when I blacked out, I don't know if that was, I don't really know what that was. If it was some kind of anesthesia, if it was some kind of weird time anomaly, if I blacked out, went unconscious, and then was brought back here somehow. I don't even know how I was taken away to begin with. So it really is, it's really, I have no idea how to explain any of that.
Yeah, it's difficult. Again, sort of that human perception aspect of all this stuff and the time dilation bit. So we're talking in terms of not just, let's say, time dilation, because everybody gets it. Like I said, in minor ways, we've all had the long drive or whatever, or James had to walk where kind of the time dilation happened in that particular capacity, or, the long drive that seems like you just zonked and were not there for 2 hours and then it's 2 hours later, sort of snap your fingers. I mean, that's kind of technically missing time, but it is certainly our perception of that. And as part of this, as you know me, I like to dig into this a little bit deeper and look at not just the science and the folklore and some of the mythological aspects and the zeitgeist and all the stuff as it kind of comes together in this tale, or the larger conversation, of course. But check this out. So there's a couple things that are happening in the mind when it comes to this type of thing. By the way, we are taking your calls if you want to be part of the conversation, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. And when you're on the Discord, just put your hand up and we'll get you on the show here. But I'm going to read a little bit of this because this is important when it comes to what we know about the science of our mind and the actual temporal perception of such. Okay. So here we go. This is straight from again, if you're not using Perplexity for search, I'm not sure what you're doing. Google is dead in 2025. So if you're using Google, Stop it. Stop it. Anyway, so the frontal cortex serves as a critical hub for temporal information processing, particularly in relation to short-term and long-term memory functions. This is what we know scientifically. The human brain's ability to process time duration results from adaptive functions involving neural regions that are arranged according to the duration of the stimulus received. Sound complicated? Yeah. Time perception fundamentally depends on the interaction between cortical structures linked to the internal clock and areas involved with specific tasks. The prefrontal cortex plays a particularly important role in an individual's estimation of time periods, relating specifically to the storage and recovery of memory. Now recognize that to the individual's estimation of time periods. And we've talked about this often on the show in the past, that eyewitness accounts are flawed. The human aspect of data collection and then recollection as part of it, even one thing happens and there's 10 people around watching, you'll get 10 similar but different accounts because they notice different details. Other things stand out for one person that don't stand out for another. But again, our actual estimation of time itself, an individual's estimation of time periods relating specifically to storage and recollection and recovery of memory. It's weird. It's cooked into our brain. It's something we've been dealing with forever. And so the larger question becomes, as part of this conversation, is it possible to alter that? Is it possible to step out of our time slice? And as usual, is it a meditative practice? Is it the shamanic journey? Is it not possible at all as part of the gamut of ideas here? Is it a technology? Maybe was Betty and Barney Hill as part of that abduction experience sort of shocked out of a time space with that technology? Who knows? Energy, frequency, vibration. I don't know what level of that type of stuff would play here, but I do wonder if it is an aspect of this where we're doing things happening that doesn't make any sense to us because we can't piece it together after the fact. I don't know, but it certainly seems pretty wild here. But there's also more. So when attention must be divided among multiple tasks, the frontal lobe becomes actively involved due to its relationship with prospective memory activation, which helps predict and monitor the accuracy of time estimation, which means we can be fallible in that regard, which happens quite a lot. The frontal cortex's well-developed structure and its relation to memory storage contributes significantly to detailed time duration processing. Neurochemical modulation through dopamine appears to be related to perception of seconds to minutes and is associated with the frontostriatal, can I say it, circuitry. Additionally, okay, some other big words I'm not going to try and pronounce, but you get what I'm saying. We have this computer, the bandwidth of the human being, that's trying to put all the pieces together to construct a lucid reality for us. However, as I've always said, it's flawed, because we cannot take in enough information to give us an accurate representation of reality. Hence again, why I always talk about reality tunnels. Hence again, why I always talk about identity and who you are and who you'd like to become and what level of manipulation is happening outside of that space into your space. This stuff is important. However, it doesn't get talked about a ton. I think this is one of those things that we should probably hit harder in the younger versions of ourselves and not just learn, meaning school, not just the five senses, but really the fallibility of our minds and why we're the same, but why we're so incredibly different with those reality tunnels. I'll link this whole perplexity bit in the Discord after the thing and the after show chat, as I've been doing, by the way. So if you guys want more additional information when it comes to this type of stuff, all of the research that went into the show, that's on the Discord. So if you have not joined the Discord, take a minute out of your time, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, come hop in there and say hi, and check out all the links. There's a lot of people 24 hours a day sharing ideas in there, and you don't have to talk. It's just a chat client. You can type. It's a voice client, completely free. What's to hate about it? And if you're not good with technology, there's a lot of people in there that have done the work and figured out how to do it from zero, and we can help you learn it. Okay. Anything on any of that stuff, James, regarding maybe not the Discord, but also join James's Discord. We'll get a link up for that in a second. But regarding our brain and our fallibility of these reality tunnels and actual, let's say, piecing together time itself after the fact, because let's be real. In a moment, once it passes, all we have is our memory of said moment. And so we're literally reconstructing time itself for the human experience in a fallible, mechanistic way. So how weird is this? And can it be manipulated? I don't know. Take it anywhere you like, sir.
Well, if you go back to what I just said earlier, I said, I'm terrible at remembering when all these things that have happened to me, when they take place exactly. Because I am. You know, I know a couple of years ago, I used to say, oh, this weird thing happened to me like 12 years ago. And then I would talk about it today still. And if I don't think about it, I'll catch myself saying, oh, this happened about 12 years ago. No, it happened about 14 years ago. If this has been 2 years since I used to say, this happened about 12 years ago. So, you know, that's just, and that's again, perception of time, perception of how much has happened between then and now. All these things, time again, going faster when you're having fun, or not going faster when you're not. Yeah, so that makes sense. I heard somewhere else, I forget now where, that when we remember things, we're remembering the act of, is it the act of remembering, or remembering the process of that? We're not actually pulling up the memory. We're just remembering the last time we remembered it. So, and yet the amazing thing to me with all that being said is some details, so many details about experiences, they still stay even after many years. So I really wonder how that works and why we're able to remember certain things so clearly and other things not so much.
It is odd. It is odd. And the human experience is, fallible. But of course, it doesn't make it any less real. And that's what we're dealing with here. And especially when you talk about time and that time dilation. Like I said, we've all experienced it in one way or another. And sometimes it seems very short, a few seconds. Sometimes it seems very long, like you zone out on a drive and you kind of come to an hour later or something. It's weird. It's definitely weird. And so what does it mean? And again, how far can you stretch the concept? And and this is where we go cosmic, of course, and cosmic, as you know, I love to think about it. I love to talk about it. I never expect conclusions out of cosmic because it's, as I always say, beyond our pay grade as mere humans, just kind of discussing philosophy or possible Kardashev civilizations of the future or whatever. But, if this is what we're dealing with technology, is it going to be possible to shock yourself out of a time space and sort of outside of that human entropy cycle that I'm always talking about, which just means we're born, we grow older, we pass. That's it. Okay. It seems morbid to describe it like that, because of course human life is way, way, way beyond just boiling it down to a simple linear timeline like that. But imagine this, and we'll get back to this when we come back from the break, because I think this is an important aspect of it. If technologically speaking, you could shock yourself out of your time slice that you're locked into. Okay. I like to call them that because I think of them as very, very thin slices of time themselves that are all stacked together. Everything's happening all at the same time in the same space. And that time slice, you pull one of those out. Think of like that Superman prison that was kind of flying and, tumbling and had the bad guys in it. Remember Superman 2? Zod, I am Zod. That's a time slice, in my opinion, at least conceptually. If you could step outside of that time slice, escape from that prism, the mirror, whatever that is, then you would see it all at the same time. The past, the present, and the future. Now, with talking about Kardashev civilizations, and we're talking about aliens tonight with Betty and Barney Hill a little bit, conceptually, the next thing for us would be something to that effect, where we're able to sort of dip out and then maybe come back 20 years later and check on progress, and then maybe go back 40 years in time. Who knows? And if we're talking about alien technology in that capacity, have they not already conquered this time space stuff that I'm talking about, that we're considering tonight? And also, there's a tie-in here to Interstellar. And I know I twisted a lot of your arms and made you watch it recently, and thank you to all the folks who did, because it's very good. But there's a bit in there that's describing exactly what I've been talking about for years. at the end of Interstellar. The time slices, everything happening all at once, a way to observe it outside of 3D reality into a tesseract of sorts. So how do you actually find that space? How do you become that? And is it even possible? I don't know. You know me. I don't know. Anything about that, James? I know you watched that movie, and then we'll take a break.
Yeah, my arm still hurts. I don't know why you gotta be so mean, Mike.
Damn it, James. Damn it.
But it was a great movie. But yeah, I do think, and I mean, this is not even counting when people have weird experiences in dreams where they go to sleep and they dream or they have like experienced years of life in a dream, but then they wake up and it's only been hours. They've just slept through a night, or the opposite. So that's a whole other level to all this, I think, as well, possibly.
Yeah, sort of the experience of a consciousness unattached to a body experiencing those time frames. It's weird. It's wild, and it's an interesting thing to be a human being, because human being. I don't know. What do you think? Is it possible to step outside of your time slice, out of time per se? And if so, have the aliens already done it? Is that the next level of technology for, say, Kardashev 2 civilization? I would say probably. I mean, we're searching for immortality now. What comes next? Love to hear your thoughts. Nobody on the line if you want to jump in here. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Jungle, machines hum, a digital rumble. Gates of cyber open wide, plug us into cosmic tide. Feeling sparks across the sky. As knowledge flies, we're amplified. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate. In this massive data center dome, eternal truth start to roam. Circuits flicker with endless fire, data streams that never tire. Unified by electric dreams, unlock the truth in silver beams. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate. Synthesize what we seek and find. Infinite paths in the network mind. Answers buzz from star to core. Knowledge whispers evermore. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate. In realms where the data streams collide, imagination and logic side by side. In a labyrinth of digital names, we transcend our earthly ways. Tapping keys like cosmic tones, spikes become our whispered homes. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate.
Yep. Mrs. Strange is not really keen on AI music, but she says that one's cute. What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. What's up, Gaston, Roving Fungus? What's up, Jeff? Sora, thanks for the call. Joey, I see you, buddy. What's up, Herschel, Brandon, Dawn, Sweets, Daryl, Good evening, guys. You're the best. Quantum, Stephen England, MJ, thanks for the call. Fire stuff as always. I'm trying to keep up with that. Names, I'm not the best. D Dash, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for hanging out, being part of this. Thanks for caring about the ideas. We got more coming up, of course. We're going to talk about not just aliens, time displacement, the Tesseract of, if you guys have seen, maybe this is the time we have the discussion about Interstellar or nah. Spoilers. Who said this, by the way? Let me scroll. What's up? I see you, Joseph, in the chat. How you doing? How you doing? What's up? Joseph said, Interstellar is the greatest movie I have ever watched. I just watched it in 2024. I told you. I mean, maybe didn't tell you, but I've been twisting people's arms forever to watch that. That actual movie was incredible to me. Top 5 of all time for sure. And it's gives me chills to think about the massive implications philosophically of what any of that stuff means. Actually, it's all AI music, Sora. Everything we use on the show is AI music, except for the bumper music. That's old school white hat stuff. But yeah, what's up? I see you guys in the chat. YY is here. Good evening. What's up, Gordo with North Vixen? Hello. Hiker, thanks again for posting the troubledminds.org/friends and pinning it. Whoever did that, life-changing movie. I agree. It's incredible to think about. And it is, again, time dilation. The past being influenced by the future. It's incredible. So maybe we'll talk about that. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. Love to hear your thoughts on it. We're taking your calls. If you want to be part of the conversation, you know what to do. And so Derek says, I'll try the phone in like 10 if there's nobody online. No worries. So we got Joey coming up and Derek may be calling back and your calls as well. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening right about meow. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking about missing time. Could time vanish without a trace? Not stolen, but rerouted by forces we can't yet measure. What if minds can slip from the moment? Or if unseen technologies quietly edit reality in real time? And if you squint and think about that, it really kind of gets us into the Time Variance Authority. It gets us into Adjustment Bureau. It gets us into some of these other aspects of timelines and, things being proper, and you can't sort of step out of line. And if you do, it causes, temporal displacements and cataclysms, a temporal cataclysm, which we've talked about in the past as well. I don't know. It's weird and it's complicated and it's amazing. However, don't forget that the whole point of the conversation is that time is a human construct. Okay. However, philosophically, it also might not be, meaning it exists everywhere all at once. Weird, right? I don't know. James, anything to add, and we'll get to some calls. Sneaking up on James here. You there? Test 1 2. If not, love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Did my internet die? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Yeah, Interstellar, right? Interstellar's good. It's a good one. I think I'm good. Let's see. Let me do an internet test here. Test, amniocentesis. Yeah, we seem to be good. Okay, so let's take some calls. What do you guys think? And weird, I'm here. I'll try again. Maybe it's a push to talk.
Yeah, it was. You just your voice faded real quick. I don't know why. Like it was there and then just boom, gone for a second. So
that's weird.
Maybe internet connection or whatever. Who knows?
Okay. Well, we hear you loud and clear. I got to take on that real quick, and then we'll go to these calls.
I'm so distracted by what just happened. I think I'm just gonna let the calls go and looking forward to the rest.
Yeah, sometimes it's weird, right? How when the internet warbles, it seems to warble for everybody. It's like Neo just flexed. Hey,
yeah, my brain is blank. It just like fried my brain for a second there.
Yeah, Neo, whoever you are out there, stop flexing. You're breaking our internet. Yeah, stop it. Wait till after the show. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. We're talking missing time. What about the human construct of time itself? What happens when time goes missing? And can it be induced naturally, accidentally, or through some sort of technology like we've talked about anesthesia tonight? Weird, right? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Let's go to Joey El Demente. Wait, did I click it? I literally clicked it and he left. Did I ban him on accident? Okay. Hop back in here, Joey, and we'll put you on. Let's go to back to Sora. What's up, Sora? Welcome to the joint. You are on Troubled Minds. Welcome back. What is on your mind here? What do you got for us regarding? I saw you type something about Interstellar, but go ahead. Welcome back. Go right ahead, sir.
Well, about Interstellar, like, one, yeah, it was an awesome time, I think. I and my sister went to go see it, and we're both like big sci-fi physics, quantum physics nerds, and it was just a great time in the theater, and we were walking out of it, and we had so much to say. But we also noticed while we were walking out that most other people, and this was like in the middle of Midtown New York, they were like, what just happened? What was the whole deal with the black hole? And it kind of, it seemed to go over most people's heads, but not so much that they weren't absolutely fascinated with the movie.
It was very good. It was
like,
very
it
good.
Really had people. Yeah, it had people on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, it gets
definitely
me every
worth
time.
watching once, twice, maybe thrice.
I'm not a big crier, but at the end of that movie, every single time I get tears. They're little tears.
Dude, I did too.
Got to maintain my man card here, but I mean, it gets me every time. Like just the level of sort of the once again the human time. What do I like to call it? The human entropy cycle. Really well formulated in such a fantastic story, and the characters were great and the actors were great. When I watch it, like you try and be the critic, right? I when I see it again, there's nothing I dislike about that movie. It's incredible. It's incredible. What's up, Treeland? I see that.
It made everything about science and science fiction seem extremely real and so close to home. And that's, I mean, it's kind of the weirdness of time dilation that really makes you think about that, because I was thinking about while I was gathering my Star Trek Insurrection. While we go down this road, I remember time, like the entire species that they had, I can't remember what they were called, were able to slow down time with their minds, and they were incredible. They had incredible longevity, and they got to this point where they were being attacked, and the character lady, she got hurt, and Carter was like, help me be intimate with you. And as she was describing earlier, that a moment can exist as an entire reality all of its own. It kind of takes me back, because I myself have had many instances where like a moment can last like forever, and you can just enjoy it that way.
Which is nice. Now imagine if
it's kind of antithetical.
Yeah, well, imagine if you can control that. Like if you could actually sort of choose to. I mean, and I guess this would be the problematic part philosophically. Whatever like your next really nice moment is, you could just be like, I'm gonna stay here. Shut it all down. I'm just staying right here forever, and I'm not going anywhere else because I enjoy this moment enough to just stay here. And so that becomes that larger philosophical part of this that's problematic to people and reality tunnels and all the stuff we always talk about.
Yeah, because you're kind of taking yourself out of all of the rest of time that you're likely to experience. And that's kind of important, not just to yourself, but really to other people.
Exactly. So whatever you would experience as part of it and people would experience with you, you're now off the game board. Mm.
Yeah. And while I like that idea, I wouldn't like that. But I wonder sometimes, like, would it really matter? Like, if you wanted to stay in that moment forever, technically you could, and you could still come back to reality. Like, when you were done with forever, however long that lasts, I mean, forever is a long time, especially toward the end of it. You just, your next moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very strange concept, and so is all of time dilation, whether it's moving too fast or too slow.
Yeah, well said, all that. And again, don't forget that the reason we talk about these things in the way that we do is because we experience these things, these sort of abnormalities of just being human. And this is why this stuff resonates as sort of the Spookyville or the fringe type of conversations, because we see it, we sense it. Our intuition tells us there's something more to time than we can really put our finger on. However, conquering that beast is going to be quite the endeavor. Great stuff. Appreciate the call. What else you got? And then we're going to move on to Brent, who's on the line as well.
No, that's all I got for now. Gather my thoughts again. Raise my hand later. I want to hear other people speak. Really.
Right on. You were the best. You are not added to the list yet. You will be. Sweets and I are making a list and checking it twice. We'll get you on the list this weekend. troubledminds.org/friends. Follow Sora here. Please do that. And you're the best. Appreciate you listening and hanging out, and appreciate the call.
I appreciate you all.
You're the best. That's Sora. I'll get his link and drop it in the chat here in a second. Yeah, it's this stuff's complicated, and again, conceptually complicated. I know I say that a lot, but we sort of live in that realm because I think that without kind of stretching the capacity of what humans are capable of, we're just doing water cooler talk and talking about the weather. And while that's fun and fascinating, it gets old awfully fast, doesn't it? Anything to add, James? We'll go to Brent on the phone line.
No, just great calls from everyone. I remember the scene that Sora was talking about in Star Trek, and yeah, that's a good movie and a good point because they literally do slow down time in a couple of places in that movie, and it's an ability that those people on that planet have. At least some of them do. I think actually most of them do. So, but yeah. Anyway, looking forward to the rest of the calls.
You were the best. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Shout out Lily in Australia in the chat. I see you there. Welcome, Brent. Brent from YouTube. What's up, my man? How you doing tonight? You're on Troubled Minds. Go right ahead.
Yeah, peace, love, and gratitude, and shout out to all the chatters and the callers, and all great callers and great chatters, and to you, Michael Strange. Hey, listen, I'm kind of in a time warp already, okay? Maybe you can help me out. I remember being on Discord, and were you a show just previous to Joe Rupe on the Fringe?
That is correct. Yes, there was a time for about.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, all right. Well, all right. Then I'm in the right place. Yeah, I was big in their chat room, but it just all like fell apart, and I got kind of warped in there, and I was like being warned not to say anything medical. Like, hey, I cured this or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a sort of post-COVID. It was still a thing, and it's still a thing in some circles. But yeah, I'm with you. It was like a draconian censorship regime, kind of putting, especially in the alternative thinking communities. Yeah. So I don't know. I left Fringe and I didn't check out the the Discord and stuff. After that, I didn't go back and really say hi. The anti-social me, but I'm also super busy. But yeah, Brent from the Fringe. Derek says, yeah, yo Brent, Fringe FM legend, absolutely. And so you're right though. It was weird. It was weird how that changed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no. Hey, come on, take it where you can get it. Take it where you can get it. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So I am that guy that was on Fringe FM before Joe Rupe, and then Ryan Gable was after Joe Rupe. Back in that pocket. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, well, yes, sir. That helped me a lot. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that I was real, and call you and let you know how much I appreciate your show. I think you've done I think it's the greatest show on YouTube, and right now it's the only one worth watching. I've checked them all out.
That's very kind. Thank you. I'm not immune to flattery.
I just want to go ahead, say it again. A lot of flattery. Yeah.
No, I said I'm not.
Don't get me into flattery.
I'm not immune to flattery. I'm definitely not immune to flattery. Those are very, very, very kind words and big claims to make. Hey, I do my best, but my superpower is you guys, is this whole community, is all these smart people that talk about these wild ideas, including you. So yeah, welcome back home, sir. Welcome back home. Here's the thing too, regarding time dilation and whatnot. What's your idea on that? I'm sure you've got a thought or two regarding how we experience this technology or meditation, or what's your take on the time bit as part of the conversation?
I have a particular instrument that keeps time usually very accurately, and I just let it go, and it looks like something's slowing time down because my clock's 24 minutes ahead on that thing, and it doesn't miss a beat. Well, it's basically an old computer that, was highly reliable as long as you keep the battery in there, and it's got power. And and it has a new battery in it, has new batteries in it. And I've clocked in 24 minutes ahead of time. So I think something's slowing it down.
Okay. So, all right. So let's think conceptually about what that might be. Do you think that, again, consciousness and us sort of through a meditative aspect or energy, frequencies, vibrations, something as yet undiscovered, you think we have the ability to do that? Like maybe you are causing it, your sort of human energy in that space? Or do you think it's something that's maybe a little more random, maybe a little more cosmic? What would be your theory on that, describing how this type of stuff happens?
Well, from a practical standpoint, I would say that the time is set by some atomic clock in London. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so. Greenwich Mean Time or something, right?
Yeah, Greenwich Mean Time.
By satellites, yeah.
And right now, yeah, go ahead. Greenwich Mean Time, thank you. That's correct.
Yeah, by satellite, you're correct. You go ahead.
And right now on Lord Howe Island, just east of New Zealand, it's 15 hours and 30 minutes ahead of us. So, or me, and I'm in Central Time, and I just have a suspicion that it's like they're trying to buy time, but incrementally so that it's not noticeable. And I don't know if that makes sense, but that's my practical approach. Now, there could be magnetic influences in our universe that are, warping it a little bit, But that, like in the zodiac, which it's just a hobby of mine lately, but in the zodiac, every 72 years, there's a degree change. 1 degree for every 72 years. And the Western astrology was set up by Ptolemy, basically, and he realized this, but he couldn't work it into his calculations, and didn't want to bother taking it out, to see how to do it. But with computers now, they can do that. And in other words, every second really is, and divided second, when you study calculus, right? You know what a limit is, right?
Yeah, I studied calculus badly, but I can follow you conceptually. Go ahead.
Right. A limit is just basically, if it basically is tending towards something, then that's the limit, whatever that limit is. Anyway, and there's always something between something else so it can be infinitely broken down into its parts ad infinitum, ad infinitum, you know. So I believe that time is, you know, relative, because that ensures that in the cycles that we observe, that every moment, every microsecond is unique. And so if you're born, everybody's born with unique DNA.
True that.
It ensures that it's not static. It's dynamic. It's a dynamic system we're in. So that is built into the system. So I mean that could account for it also.
Yeah, it is weird. It is weird, and it's sort of the aspect of missing time, or you know, speeding up. As you, Brent, as you find as we get older, and this is something that's been studied and confirmed over and over and over again. Do you feel like time is accelerating back to that Art Bell quickening? Do you feel like we're kind of in that space right now?
No, I think the technology is being released at breaking speed, but I don't believe that the time itself is any more different than it ever has been, except for, like I'm saying, the adjustments to our entire universe.
I'd love to see that system at its core, and who's twisting those dials. Yeah, it's weird. It's all weird. That's why we talk about this stuff, as you know, because we like to get weird on the show. Yeah, welcome home, man. Welcome home. You know where to call us. You know where to find us, and thank you for listening. And again, thanks for the kind words. That is high praise.
And thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the kind words.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Have a good night.
Appreciate the call. Glad to have you, and call back anytime. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. It's Brent, the fringe legend. Yeah, it's weird. He's right. He's right. Sort of fringe kind of. Did its thing. I don't know. I don't follow up on those folks, but it's weird that it kind of collapsed in a lot of ways. I don't know. I don't know who's still running it or who's doing the things, or I don't know. I don't follow up on that stuff. But welcome to the joint. I am that guy. I was that guy on that radio station doing those things, and it's interesting. All of this is incredibly interesting to talk about and to consider and think about. And it's good. It's good to find old friends that, yeah. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back, Brent. Great call. You're welcome to call anytime, as you know. James, anything on that? I've got some ideas, of course, because you know me, I can ramble on forever, but I got some less rambles, but I got some ideas. But if you have anything, want to get that in there before we go to a call at the bottom of the hour here.
No, just great to hear from Brent. And, yeah, I do think time. There's so many things to this that makes you think of, especially when it comes to how we experience time. It makes me think of sometimes when people see glimpses of other times. I wonder if that's, again, are they traveling to those other times? Are they just seeing into them? And if they are just seeing them, how are they seeing them? I've even heard of that with people seeing each other in different time periods. Which is just really wild. So, and of course, that being described or attributed to being spirits when maybe it's not. Maybe it's just, again, different points in time overlapping somehow.
Yeah. Which again, outside of the human experience, and how do we sort of handle that? It's difficult because we're talking about a space we don't reside in, so it's conceptual. Shout out Brent, reminding me of this. Our time, he mentioned time as sort of buying time. Okay. Time is, and I thought my mind goes like, it just splinters every time anybody says something. My mind works in mysterious ways. Yeah. But buying time is an interesting thing because the time economy becomes something that a Kardashev civilization would actually maybe be into. And as we know now in the current space of humanity, it's being called the attention economy, where our time itself is the most powerful aspect of currency because it's limited. Okay? It is precious, as has been said in the chat. It is something we only have a finite amount of. Until, of course, we can crack our time slices, as I've been describing, and step out of time conceptually. Whatever that looks like, maybe it's not possible. I don't know. You tell me. With enough energy, I guess maybe anything's possible. But the attention economy becomes the future. When we're talking about a post-scarcity world of AI and this type of stuff, suddenly that attention economy means, well, it's probably more important than we give it credit for. And it's also one of those double-edged swords. Be careful what you give your time and attention to. That's who said it, some philosopher, you know, yada, yada. One of those smart guys from the past said, careful. What you give your time and attention to, you start to become. Thank you for being part of this. Thanks for caring about the ideas. Thanks for being smart and interesting and being nice to each other. And that's exactly it. The attention economy, here we go. We got Derek the Night Stalker coming up, more from Sora, more from James, and your calls as well. Look, I don't know. What I do know is that I'm not as smart as I'd like to be. That's what I do know. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. We're talking missing time tonight. I'm calling it the edited hour. Time that wasn't there. What happens when you're put under? What happens when you come back? What happened in between? And can you manipulate that through a larger and greater technology? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. More yada yada of yore coming up when we return. Don't go anywhere. More on the way. Be right back.
Symbols, whispers, and shadows. We've got maps where nobody goes. In the night under hidden glows, guardians of what no one knows. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. In cloaked silence we traverse the lines, through ancient scrolls in forgotten times. Voices echo in the halls of lore, guardians of the mysteries evermore. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. Shadows meet in cryptic disguise, our eyes sharp against the everlights. With silver threads we weave the stealth to guard the past, forgotten well. Where the myths collide with hidden lore, our fates are tied. Signals bouncing off the astral plane, invisible codes that can't be tamed. We decode the stars under the midnight veil, a stayed circumscribed midnight hail. In the echoes of time, where the legends lay, we tread the path where shadows play. With spectral eyes we discern the truth, unraveling tales from ancient youth. We seek the truth.
Yes, sir. I'm telling you, AI is singing that song right now. Yes. All the music in between for the commercials, all of that is AI. Every bit of it. Yeah. Right. 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 You creeped out yet? What's up? If I missed anybody, say hi. Buzz Aquino, I see you there, buddy. What's up, Sora? Yep. The famous yada yada of yore. That's a funny comment. What's up? Brandon in the truck says, oh man, we have entered the economy of attention. Wait, what? Yeah, exactly. Oh dear God. Straphead. What's up? Why Gordo Hiker? I see you guys. What's up? Rusker Dax. This is nonsensical rambling. Yes. Call in and tell me all about it. I'd love to hear it. Nonsensical rambling. It's funny when we have these conversations, how that sort of the engineer mind would see something like that. And I get it, but also the human experience is quite a bit more than science and STEM and everything else. So yeah. Anyway, here we go. Trouble Minds coming up. Hey, I appreciate the comment. I get it. I get how you wouldn't like it if you think like that, but hey, you know, here we go. Trouble Minds happening right about now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking about missing time. It's very simple. Have you ever had it? You ever experienced it? You ever read about it? And, of course, it harkens back in the modern age to that Betty and Barney Hill story of the alien abduction experience, where they had a couple hours missing, they were driving. Everybody knows the story. It's in the write-up if you want to kind of follow up on it or do some searching or whatever. But it's terrifying, but it's also one of those interesting aspects of that UFO experience that people talk about. Again, you know, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter to conceptually kind of, you know, put your toes in the ocean of philosophical thought constructs and wonder what this stuff actually is. Because certainly there's something to it, but what? And how come there's a time dilation aspect and missing time element of it? I don't know. I don't know. And that's exactly the point. And look, I know it's very comforting for people to tell you, oh, I really know, and give you a wild, convoluted theory that makes a ton of sense. Quantum this and quantum that and spooky action at a distance. And I've got it all figured out. But do you? Really? I don't know. I think truth is a slippery fish, as I like to call it. So it's incredibly important to talk about ideas outside of the scope of literal, direct truth. Love to hear your thoughts on this. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Let's get Derek back in here. Derek, the Night Stalker. What's up, brother? Welcome back. Thanks for calling back. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Coming through loud and clear. Everything is good.
Beautiful. All right. Sorry about that. I hate when that happens. Just screeches the show to a halt, whatever.
That's all right. It happens. It's all good. It's all good. So you were reading, so you take it anywhere you like, but you were reading that, the thing you shared. So I'll scroll up.
Well, I got it all figured out.
Okay. Good. I'd love to hear it.
I got it all figured out, and it's spooky quantum it's spooky action at a quantum distance. I got it all figured out.
Right. The spooky action
and
a temporal quantum. Absolutely.
But it's just I don't know what was heard and what wasn't the last time, but for the perception aspect of it, and the idea that some people, so the example I gave was somebody was like tying their shoes, thought it took 30 seconds. It really takes 25 minutes. They didn't believe them. They showed them videotape of it. Like, oh man, like they're moving in literal slow motion. And the same the other way. Like they think that a task took 20 minutes, but it took 2 minutes. And they're like, I don't believe you. And then you show them the tape, and they go, oh wow, like, I have no recollection of that. And they call that tachypsychia. Just to test, make sure you heard that word this time.
Yeah, tachypsychia. Got you. Follow.
Okay, all right. Okay. And it's called Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Tachypsychia is a neurological condition that alters the perception of time, usually induced by physical exertion, drug use, or traumatic event. It's believed that high levels of dopamine and norepinephrine can induce tachypsychia. So drugs can induce it. Is that a technology that they can weaponize for some type of you got stung by some kind of nano bug robot drone thing, alien thing, or secret government technology, and inject you with some kind of substance that makes you have this effect and kind of missing time that way. Or if you can induce it some kind of tone that can like hit the part of the brain that creates dopamine and creates norepinephrine and can induce it that way, that potentially can be weaponized in that way. I just wanted to get that out. And then I got one more thing for the Interstellar, I guess. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And once again, right? It's and I think these dare I call them maladies, or right, sort of the temporal displacement syndrome, or whatever this is. I think eventually we'll be able to kind of figure this out and dial it in where it doesn't happen. And I've said this a bunch in the past too, like on some of these fringe shows on history or whatever, this or that. They say that one theory is that schizophrenia itself is a temporal distortion, which kind of confuses cause and effect and some other things, and makes you not really recognize that the things that happen are because of the things that came before it. And then once that stuff kind of gets scrambled, it's impossible to keep up with what it means to be human in this, quote, temporal space. So that in particular is fascinating as hell if we can dial that in and sort of fix those things. But then if the inverse is true, how do we sort of space it out and turn it into stepping outside of time itself? Really is where my mind's at, because I'm a weirdo, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, so if there's some type of like shadowy organization, like X-Files style, some type of smoking man, its underlings, different agents going there to make physical contact, can just like brush up against you in the subway and can inject you with some kind of substance, and then like it knows that 3 hours later it's going to make it to your brain, and they have this altered state, this time weirdness, and then they swoop in and pick you up in the black van, and then they drop it back off later on. And that could be one thing. Or if you can do it non-locally and induce it with some kind of technology that's just right in front of where we are right now. It seems it's almost like the vanish syndrome type tech, where they're inducing weird like nausea and stuff. Can you hit another part of the brain that it releases the same chemicals that induce this naturally occurring syndrome, this Alice in Wonderland moment, and send people on down the rabbit hole from a basement office somewhere, or from a spaceship somewhere or whatever. But with the interstellar aspect of it, I was watching Foundation on Apple yesterday, trying to catch up with it, and it's really, really cool. I won't get into the whole thing, but basically, like the emperors are like clones of this one emperor. So they're the same person. There's like 3 different ages, all being kind of decanted at the same time. It's called like one old man, one middle-aged man, and one young man. And then like the middle-aged man is kind of gaining more power, and the young and the old guy are kind of suspicious of it, and they're trying to track down how are they grabbing power. We're supposed to be of one mind, but it seems like my mind is being altered in some capacity. How are you doing this? And they realize that they have a program, because it's like a future technology. They have a program where their memories are kind of like mapped, or kind of like stored on a hard drive after the fact. And it's like they're not robots or anything. It's just, this is the technology they have, and people at the higher class, or all the servants have to do it to make sure they're not stealing stuff or whatever. You can kind of just you can map, you can like remember, you can have a memory in a hard drive of all a person's life experiences. So then they get into these archives, and then they're like comparing their like archived experiences, their total amount of memory bits or whatever term they used, and they're like 84. Okay, what do you have? 87. It's pretty normal. What does the clone before me have? 82. Okay, what does the one before me have? 83. Another 87. Seems pretty normal. What did the original guy have? Oh, 250, whatever. That seems a little weird. Like, we have exactly the same life as this original guy. How come the total memory is not the same? And they theorize that they're having memory removed from them. And they originally think it's like, and I don't know where this goes, because I'm not there yet, so I can't spoil it. But that's like where I'm at right now. They're like they've figured out by their like total memory like storage that they're having memory removed from them. But without seeing that on a screen, they would never realize it. If you have these memories taken from you, then you would never know to ask about it. It wouldn't be a blip in the system. So could that be happening to us all the time? Is there some kind of weird like hidden hand of reality aspect? This is why we dream. They can kind of adjust all our memory, or read us all, or catalog us, or whatever best as they want. And then we wake up the next morning, our memories are pretty close to the same, but not really. And we got to kind of reboot a little bit in the beginning, or we kind of false memories. And James, when you mentioned the thing about we only access our most recent memory. That's really trippy if you think about it. It's almost like it's less bandwidth used to like go to the most recent access point than it is to like find the original source file or whatever. But like, I'm rambling. What do you think about that? Sorry.
Go ahead, James. If you got anything on that, no, you're good. No, you're not, bro. You're never rambling. you're spot on.
Sorry.
You invoke James, so I want to give him space there if he's got something to say. Go ahead, James.
Zero rambles, and yeah, I actually heard that from Soraya that on Where Did the Road Go? He mentioned that he read that somewhere else about we're only remembering the last time we remembered something. So yeah, it does. It makes me wonder. I mean, about okay, then where does all that go? And of course, then it gets to the idea of where. I mean, do those memories do they go completely away, or are they part of our consciousness that is not strictly in our brain, in our head? And so then how do we access those if we can, or can't we, or a lot of just raises a lot of questions. But yeah, I thought that was really amazing. And yet, like I said, we still do remember things. There's certain details that we never lose. Even if we do lose other ones, we still, some things still stick and others don't.
Yeah, I mean, like, who's to even say? I mean, we have nobody to compare notes with because we're the only ones riding around in our experience, And I'm having a lot of weird moments when I'm like going back the last year or two, like dialing back my own nostalgia. I'm like realizing that when I watched this show came out in 2003, I thought it came out in '98, or this came out in '92. Like, how did I even watch? Like, I kind of like chronicled my life experiences based on kind of these touchstone pop culture moments and stuff. And then now that I'm accessing it again, I'm realizing that my mental catalog is off. So how many of my memories have I put in my own? Have I like shuffled in the wrong order to myself? And how you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that is wild.
Yeah. So it's yeah. Good. Sorry.
No, it's like I was saying earlier. I can tell you about things that I've experienced, but when it comes to time, I can't tell you what year this happened or what day that happened, or I'm just terrible with that. I've always been that way. So yeah, sorry, I you're on the call, so I don't want to take up too much of your time there, but happy to hear more what you have.
I will. Oh, everybody slow down. Michael Strange is in the house. No, I'm just kidding. Real quick, I want to invoke this, Derek. You brought this up in the chat previously. Betty and Barney Hill and Demi Moore. Go.
Oh yeah. So they announced a couple of weeks ago that her and Coleman Domingo are in a movie called Strange Arrivals about their experience, and they're calling it the first major abduction experience, or the first known chronicled abduction experience and stuff. And she's just coming off her big Oscar campaign that she didn't get, so she's still like, there's a huge pull for her being like, oh, she crushed it in The Substance, which I haven't seen, but oh, she deserves it. She deserved that huge campaign, and she didn't get it. So now it could be like, at the very least, it's going to have a lot of eyeballs on this. It's going to be a prestige movie. At the most, it could be an Oscar movie. We could have so Spielberg is making his next like Oscar-worthy UFO movie about disclosure, like an evil dark disclosure. And then the Betty and Barney Hill movie is going to invoke the first like UFO moment in the zeitgeist with this. So this could bring the abduction experience back into the mainstream in a major way. If there's a like, sorry, that took long, but yeah. And with the one, I gotta go in a minute, but like with the outside of time thing. So if our memories are kind of stored somewhere, if this kind of somebody can kind of access our catalogability of our memories, our memory files, and adjust them or pull some out or tweak them in some way, can we get a missing time in that way? But also, it's like what you're talking about? We're being kind of taken out of the time stream into this kind of like interstellar kind of tesseract, 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional space where you're outside of time, which I think is what pretty much, that's the unseen. That's what I mean. There's a phenomena that's living in that space all the time and can be interacting us in like hyperspace, like that one thing that like Matthew McConaughey equivalent of the Watchers or the Entity or whatever, this formless being on the outside, making these little shadow things in the dust that's coming in through the air and like doing weird codes on the ground that you can only decipher if you're looking for it, or pushing books off shelves that will make you see something. Like, that's the Rube Goldberg machine aspect of the phenomenon I'm talking about, where one thing leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, because it's Matthew McConaughey outside of time that can see it all laid out plainly on the table in front of him, And if we can be, and if that could be as simple as that's what the actual experience is like, and that when we're popping out of I'm not sure if that is, but when we're popping out of the body, that could be what we experience in some way, or maybe like some level of that, or the first kind of entry point into that. So the abduction experience could have they're taking us out of the body more so than they're even taking us, like physically, you know. And like when we remember it, we can't remember 5D hyperdimensional space. It's not a memory file that we can store. We can only remember like these little slices of it. So it seems kind of dreamlike, seems kind of weird or whatever. And then with the cattle mutilation aspect of it, one theory I think is really cool is how, like, let's say that you take cattle from point A, and then you bring it, and usually it's brought. This is like majority of cattle mutilations. It seems like they're taken from point A, brought to point B. The surgery is done at point B, or the ritual, or whatever, the bloodletting, or whatever they're doing, done at point B, and then they're dropped off at somewhere close to point A, but not exactly. It's point C. They're kind of like haphazardly being like disposed of. We had like it's not exactly where they're supposed to be, and that's like a lot of cattle mutilations. But what if that's happening with time, and we're being plucked out of the time? So with that metaphor, we're being plucked out of the time stream the way a cattle is being plucked off the farm. We're being shown an experience. We're being done something. We might not even remember it. Sometimes we might. That's an abduction experience, or that's an out-of-body experience, or that's a wherever. Sometimes we might not even know. And then we're placed back in the time stream or back in three-dimensional meat space. And if we're put back into point A, we would never know to ask, just like in Foundation. We would never know that we were placed out of it if we were put back in exactly the right spot. We would have no missing time, no skip in the record, nothing weird happened. But if we're put haphazardly back in the time stream, point C, like the cattle just dropped off from the UFO and the UFO takes off or whatever, and that's when we notice, oh, we missed an hour. We're an hour, our point C is an hour off from where point A was, and that's how we notice. Oh, something weird happened. I had this gap, you know. But I can't talk too long. I hope that made sense. And
yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense to me. And thanks for popping back in. Always a pleasure. You were the best. Have a fantastic night.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call. You know me, that's Derek the Night Stalker. Please give him a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It's alphabetical. And if you're not on this list, you should be. I'm sorry about that. We've got Sweets and I are making the list and checking it twice. And I will get you guys on the list this weekend. Sora included. Look, this show is about us. Like I said, in the beginning, I could have called it A Troubled Mind. I didn't do that because the dream was to be able to talk to regular people about extraordinary things. And that dream has been achieved, as you can tell. But look at all these amazing people that have made this show go. Please follow them. Please spend the time. Go. Most of this is free. 95% of this is free. 97% maybe. And where they have books to sell, go buy James's book. Go buy Matthew's book in Colorado. Go buy the Roberts book. But everything else, right? It's free. 97 or 98% free. Please spend some time and go follow these amazing people that make this show go. It's not just me. Like I said, if this was just me, I could do a 20-minute thing, tell you my thoughts on a particular thing, ramble on, and then shut it down and walk away. It's not what this is. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It says Night Stalker there. Go follow his channel and leave him a nice comment. We got more from Sora. I think he's going to clarify some mathematics for us, which I need. James, anything on that? Derek's the best, as you know, brother from another mother there. But anything to add, and then we'll go to Sora and then wrap this up.
Oh yes, and just the abduction thing and the returning when people are returned. Well, first of all, I've heard and read accounts of people saying that when in some cases where they see the people that are the aliens that are taking them, they go through the aliens or whatever, the other beings go through walls or windows, and then they drag the people. Not, I mean, in such a dark way, but they bring the people out of their own homes also through solid objects. So the astral aspect to all this is definitely possible, and reported in a lot of cases. And also with I do think that the analogy that they're made of just being picked up from point A and then having whatever done at point B and then brought back to somewhere that's point C that's close to A. Not only does that happen, but it happens where people's clothes are not on right. or their shoes or their socks are in different ways or in the wrong feet from when everything started. So there really is a lot of odd details to those experiences. It goes outside of the time thing, but then again, when does it happen and how does it happen? So I just want to point out those details there.
Yeah, which again, shout out Derek for kind of bringing that up. When he was describing it, I was thinking about sort of a tesseract level time dilation space where you kind of put the CD back on the shelf in the wrong spot. It's close, but it's almost there, and then there's going to be this reverberation effect conceptually, right? Because we're talking about that black hole of Interstellar, the Tesseract, and that whole bit. Again, it's dimensional, it's weird, it probably doesn't make any sense, but I was thinking about that being placed back close enough, right? It's not going to sort of break reality or anything. There's not going to be two of you or something. But those Mandela effects, shout out the Rumble chat, and some of these other aspects of, collective misremembering might be part of that. We were talking about that recently on the Dream Show. If the dream entities that we encounter, maybe they could come here. Maybe it's also sort of reality warping in some capacity too. A lot of ways to look at it, a lot of ways to consider it, but yeah, I don't know. What's just shout out Brent in the chat. Thank you for the call. Yeah, let's go. Anything on that, James? We'll go to Sora and then MJ and we'll wrap this up.
Well, just that, it may not be a huge problem or interest to whatever the entities or the forces in reality are that do all this, to when they sort of things are not the same as when we were, if they put us back at point C, using the metaphor again, if we're not exactly where we were at or how we were before the experience happened, it may not be a big deal to whatever else is going on. But what they don't realize or don't care is that it can be a big deal to the people that had the experience happen, obviously. So it's a huge, it's a huge mess there.
Yeah, big mess. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, please do troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. I'm going to pull it up and play it in the background as we talk to our fine folks here, Sora and MJ, and then wrap this up. But there's a thing called 4D Toys. It's on YouTube, and it's sort of an explanation of what dimensional weirdness might look like in a 3D space. Okay, meaning that if you had like a larger dimensional thing, we would only be able to see 3D slices of it, even though it could sort of persist in a larger contextual framework that we don't perceive at all. And think Mario Brothers, right? The 2D space or a 3D space. Imagine like a 5D space. And how you interact with that is fractal. It's fleeting. It's weird. I'll pull it up and show it to you. It's right there. It's pinned in the general chat on Discord. We pull it up from time to time and talk about it because it is incredibly weird. But it is a way to describe what the astral might look like, astral travel, or what the framework of remote viewing might be. You're kind of tapping into this larger space. Anyway, shut up, Mike. You talk too much. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Sora, let's get in here. And final thought from you on all the rest of this. And thanks for clarifying some things in the chat. So go right ahead, sir.
Well, I mean, you guys move a mile a minute with these ideas, and they really bring up a lot of things about like quantum physics and regular physics. Like, first of all, I think it was Brent who was talking about time as a commodity. And that just took me back to the reference of a movie called Jupiter Ascending, done by the guys that did The Matrix, and how in that movie, time literally was the most precious commodity in the universe, and they extracted it from other people in order to live immortal lives. And it makes me think a lot about time in the sense of like exactly what is the metric of time. In physics and quantum physics, they count it as how long it takes an electron to go around the nucleus of an atom, which is typically 1 second. Which is like really weird. Like, how did the ancients come up with seconds, and like when were they invented? Now I have to read up on that.
I'm sure there's going to be some synchronicities from here to there in the journey, but yeah.
I guess there just have to be by way of the way the universe works. And I think about that in all kinds of metrics because I think just a moment ago you were talking about the tesseract and like 4D, 5D space and like how dimensionality is not it. It really depends on how we perceive it. And as three-dimensional beings, we wouldn't understand the entirety of a four-dimensional space.
That's why I went to the fifth, by the way, because I skipped fourth because we experienced that as time, as we know. So
yeah,
but I follow you. I'm with you.
And even at that, we're talking about understanding or perceiving as well we could, like in any kind of like masterful way.
Exactly right. Exactly. I mean, conceptually, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm not the arbiter of any truth, as I always say. But you're on the game here, brother. You're on the game. You said you're going sabbatical. What are you doing? What's coming up? You don't have to tell us, but I saw that in the chat. You're like, I'm just chilling.
I work in a lot of insights development, so I've got my hands and fingers in like all kind, mostly journalism, but that takes me down all kinds of different roads. And I'm just about to go and start studying. It's basically insight development when it comes to social consciousness.
Perfect. You are certainly in the right place. Always a pleasure, brother. Rest well. Level up. All the things.
Yeah. Thanks for the chat, and thank everybody else for the insights. It's literally how I get paid.
Nice. I love it. I love that we're useful in a non-esoteric way. You're the best, brother.
It's not all about that. It's really about growth and learning and like listening to you guys. But it's got
Right. Hey. Plus one is plus one. You're the best. Appreciate you very much. You know where to find us. We'll talk to you soon.
Level up.
Appreciate the call. Level up. Have a great night. Check the screen. I'll drop it in the chat too, because this is a wild one. The old 4D toys. 4D toys. Here you go. I'm dropping in all the chats right now because this is important as part of the math mind that was here a little while ago and was like, what kind of rambling nonsense is this? Okay, how about we frame it in this 4D toys conceptual space? And then can the math mind actually understand what we're talking about? I think so. I think that once you use, some of the terms we use are loaded, they're quasi dogma cycle, maybe religious, maybe too woo, maybe new age. That stuff, you know what I mean? And when you use particular terms, it turns people off. But look what we're actually talking about. Like this is like the 2D aspect of like a Mario Brothers representation. I'll link it in the description too. You guys should watch it if you haven't. Like I said, we pull it out every 6 months or so, or 8 months, or maybe even a year. But the conceptual aspect of dimensional overlap is incredible because we don't know how to measure it because it's immeasurable. However, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And these are maybe, high strangeness 40 level stuff that we're dealing with. The big P phenomenon, shout out Derek the Night Stalker, is maybe this is it. Maybe it's a larger framework that we can't ever imagine. And anyway, 4D toys, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Go to MJ in Virginia and wrap this up. 4D toys. Okay, this is the important part on the video. Pay attention, and also pay attention to MJ. What's up, brother? Welcome to the joint. Go ahead. What you got?
Okay, you're talking about memory. And the last job I had was with Continental in their factory in Virginia, and I became an inspector. They have these aluminum blocks that are made for the lubrication system in the engine. They pass these tubes through these holes and everything. And I inspected them. And what I found over a period of time, because I was there for, 2.5 years, your brain makes a photographic memory of the block, each and every block, the different blocks. And, in the beginning, when I was trying, I was like, God, it's taking me forever to get these blocks into I'm thinking be really, really technical and get them cleaned down for like little metal shavings and stuff. Maybe the drill's missed or that needed a new drill, or you find a drill inside them, this type of thing. And what I noticed over a period of time, because they wanted speed, like 30 seconds per block. And that's not a lot of time to inspect, but it's 30 seconds per block. So I built up my speed to it. What I discovered was the brain made a photographic memory of the block and the different blocks. So I'd pick up a block, I'm looking at it, and it's just you're flying through it. You get all those mistakes, or you see something's kind of off, you set it aside and mark it and call somebody in. So you guys were talking about memory, like you sort of put this back, but you don't quite remember it. I just found it, you mentioned, I just found it interesting that, over a period of time, you got so automatic with it. To inspect, you're not thinking anymore. And you would start to fade out and fall asleep because you're just flying through these things, but your brain's catching all of it, and your eyes are the photograph, the lens to it. I just found it was interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And the things we talk about, like I said, the terms kind of turn people off or confuse them, but this is the things we talk about are very science based. It's conceptual, theoretical stuff. It's this is philosophy, and this is like mathematics that don't exist in our realm just yet. But this type of stuff right here is, I mean, look, we have 2D representations of entities. I mean, Mario and Luigi were 2D. Go back to Donkey Kong or whatever. And so to say that, well, a 2D world doesn't exist, Mike or MJ or James or anybody else, it's like, wait, hold on though. It kind of does. Bereft of consciousness. Or maybe not. Who really knows? And this is where this starts to get complicated and weird. But yeah, this is scientific and it's conceptual, and it is, just because I'm not a scientist doesn't delegitimize it at all. And I know you know exactly what I mean. Like I said, you're dialed in, locked into this, and not only conceptually, you've experienced a ton of this stuff yourself. Fire stuff, brother.
Yeah. Yes, I have. Oh, I'm going to watch Interstellar tonight. I found it on the phone.
Nice, nice. Okay.
Everybody else has watched this. Okay.
Yeah, you got to watch this. I'm telling you. Get yourself get a snack and stuff. Like make yourself comfortable and pay attention. You will really enjoy it, I promise you, and you'll probably want to watch it again soon. But yeah, at some point we'll come back. We'll circle back when we've given everybody ample time to see it. We'll circle back and we'll do a whole Interstellar conversation because it is wild. It is absolutely wild. You're the best, brother. Thanks for staying up late with us. Thanks for being you. Always a pleasure. And go watch that. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you, Mike. You too.
You're the best. MJ in Virginia, good friend for a long time. And that's why we do this, to make good friends for long times. And welcome to it. Yeah, check it out. 4D Toys. You can search it on YouTube. And yeah, funny, when I pulled it up, there was a 45-second unskippable ad on this 5-minute video. Exactly. Oof. I've been saying that a lot, James. You've got me on oof. Grotesque. Anything to add? 4D Toys or anything time-wise? Or and then let's wrap this up.
Oh, what's funny is the internet in general, like streams, like gaming streams, got me started on oof. So it's not my fault. It's just the internet in general. But also, I put a link in the chat there about the memory thing. And I tagged you in it. So apparently it's not just a thing that I'm misremembering. Funny enough, kind of not. But we do only remember the last time we remembered something. We're not actually remembering the event, technically speaking, supposedly.
Yes, so it's a representation, a facsimile of the event itself. Yep.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to check out that link, but yeah, great call from MJ and great calls from everyone. This is just such an amazing topic. I feel like we could, I don't want to because we don't have all night, but we could go on all night about this. That's the amazing part.
I think so too.
And, thank you for letting me sit in, as always.
No, thanks for popping in early and being part of the show. The glue of the show. You know him, you love him. James Salcedo, of course. Salcedo Paranormal, the paranormal expert of troubled minds, a dear friend, all this stuff, the glue of the show. Go check out his website, salcedoparanormal.com. What a sexy website that is. And do follow him in all the places and go buy his books and all the stuff. And here you go. I'll drop the stuff in the chat there. But yeah, check out how sexy this website is. And if you doubt the vibe coding aspect of what's going on in the modern day, go look at this. Yeah, I vibe coded this. Sexy website, am I right, James?
It's an amazing website. It really is,
look
though.
Look at the colors.
It is amazing.
Nice. And salcedoparanormal.com, SALSIDO space paranormal, except don't put the space in the URL. Go search him, go find him, go give him a follow in all the places. Go buy his books. Let's support each other. Like I said, it's very important because if we're not doing that, honest to God, what are we doing? What are we doing? Yeah. Yeah. I'll drop the 4D toys in the chat in just a second as well. But yeah, I mean, it's complicated, right? This stuff is complicated, and that's why we do it. Look at, and I think as usual, just one final point for me, and then I'll wrap this up. I know I'm a blabbermouth, but check this out. In terms of, never mind, I lost it. It was really good though. Trust me, it was really good. Probably the best thing I maybe have ever said. But yeah, that's it. Anyway, we'll wrap it. I had a really good thought. Maybe it'll come to me as the music plays. 40 Toys is in the actual in the chat. I'll drop it in the description as well if you guys want to check it out. Look at it. Think about it. There's something here that is as yet unquantifiable. It's living on the fringe, conceptually. Am I wrong? Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. I wanted to point out the fact that notice in a world hyper focused on narratives and truth, that the most fascinating conversations come from a space where I show up and say, look, I'm wrong on all this. I'm wrong to start. I'm wrong to finish. But let's kind of flesh this out and talk about what this feels like. Talk about our experiences with these sorts of things that are very real, but as yet unquantifiable. And without me sort of putting the ego aside and saying, yeah, go ahead, call me a rambler or whatever, incoherent rambling, which is what I get a lot. But without actually deferring truth for conceptual conversation, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. That was my thought that I forgot that we circled back on, and welcome to it. The mind works in mysterious ways. If you want to help Troubled Minds, help our friends, let people know a conversation's happening. Wait, vice versa. Strike that, reverse it. Help our friends. troubledminds.org/friends. There's so many people that have made this show amazing over the years. Let's help each other. Let's bring back a culture of friends. Let's bring back a culture of collaboration, of ideas, of deferring ego to build a community and look forward and consider what might come next in the best of ways. If you want to help us directly, spread the word. Let people know a conversation is happening where we will not tell you who to vote for. That's not what we do. I know everybody else out there is like, nah. Stop it. If you want that, it's not here. And let me tell you what, there's something magical about that. There's definitely something magical about that. So I'm just punching myself in the face when it comes to political talk these days. Anyway, shout out Brent. Welcome home. Thanks for the call. Thanks for the kind words. Hey, is this, I don't know, is this the best show on the internet? I am biased, so I would say maybe. Maybe. However,
second best show. All right, James, I defer. Second best show.
However, look, check it out. If you think it is anywhere in that realm of the top 5, let people know. Spread the word. Old school word of mouth beats the algorithms every day. See what happens, James? My mind gets scrambled in the temporal displacement aspect of, yes, indeed. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. This one's for Deborah out there in the chat. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.